All right, what is up? Welcome in. We are live. NFL Week 16 winding down. A bit of a chaotic, all over the place schedule. And turns out they leave us with only 2 games in the late window. It is what it is. But fortunately, Bills-Eagles is a high-quality matchup to keep us entertained here. And we do have I guess I was going to say the MVPs of the late slot. I don't know if we can call them MVPs. I don't know what the correct term is. They're definitely a starter in terms of the amount of minutes they play, but shout out the Vegas Raiders matched up against the Giants. Jackson Dart is I guess a little matchup in the late window here. Kind of forget about the hype that he had this season, but I guess definitely a chance for a strong end of the season type game here against the Raiders defense. Could have a pretty decent performance. And I was checking the MVP odds before this as well, and it said that Allen was plus 3,500 to win the MVP, so it is really at this point narrowed down between May and Stafford. And, Stafford, I think, been minus for a couple weeks at this point. And I know, go back to the halfway point in the season when it really did seem like, okay, like May is, I guess, going to be in the conversation in a real way this year. He's not going anywhere. And Stafford, also the Rams are trending to have that type of season. We were hoping that the veteran status of Stafford, not to say that Drake May is going to win one down the line. You don't want to just guarantee anything, obviously, but it does seem like this is the start of a great career. But Stafford to have that sort of legacy achievement would be a great thing. I guess just in theory, though, why Josh Allen is so far out of the conversation doesn't make a ton of sense. And to be honest as well, too, I guess I know they lost Saturday. And, of course, we were talking to Sam on the Friday live stream, and we were talking about some MVP type stuff a little bit. And I was saying, JSN, one of the major offensive MVPs of the season. I don't think I'm, a crazy hot take. But I think that for us not to mention Herbert in that as well, too, is pretty crazy. And I was rewatching some of the stuff from that game from the Chargers Texans the other night as well too, and I didn't even, it just like the fact that the Chargers have 11 wins this year with the amount of injuries that they have. I get maybe we could do a schedule thing and see what the matchups are there, but Herbert having to claw his way to all these wins time and time again does seem pretty crazy. And there was a couple of meme page posts that were definitely making fun of that as well too, and it's like, yeah, that this man is like having to avoid as much pressure as anybody this year. I get, the Mahomes offensive line stuff is real, and it's not fair to, compare Mahomes to Herbert because Mahomes has 3 Super Bowls. So at the end of the day, what are we saying here? If we're making a this year case, like, is he achieving more with less? Maybe a little bit. I guess if we look to some of the advanced numbers and stuff, I don't know, really what's going on there. But I don't know if Herbert's in a better offensive line scenario than Mahomes. Maybe the defense is playing a little bit better this year. I don't know. I don't know if they actually know what their playoff status is as well, too. If the Chargers know kind of what their record is, that might be a step up from, where the Chiefs defense is at as well, too. But for where he has been at for MVP level wise as well, too. And I guess, just because there's a guy, the third guy on the odds is way down the list, there still has to be a certain amount of people on the ballot. So there's going to be another name in the mix. And I guess we didn't react to the, we didn't see the Pro Bowl teams when they dropped, because that might have been earlier last week as well, too. Okay, yeah, 5 days ago that was announced. So maybe 6, we could have done that, Tuesday live stream potentially. Or was that announced Wednesday, I guess? And when I did, the one thing that did jump out, because I did see of course we saw the post of it, scrolled through that quickly, and I was like, Zay Flowers, do we need to go back and check those numbers? Like, what happened there? And all due respect to Zay Flowers, we definitely draft him too high in fantasy every year, so it's not surprising that the Pro Bowl voters are drafting him a little too high in the Pro Bowl voting as well too. I don't know if they've looked at the preseason fantasy rankings when they voted for their teams, but and Nico Collins as well too. I mean, shout out our guy, but I thought he missed some time, so maybe we just need to go back and check some of these numbers. I guess there was you have Puka and JSN both in the NFC, so I'm sure there's 2 of them right there. But for the AFC, you're still going to need some guys. So here, let me pull up the season leaders as well, too, and see if I can follow along. Somehow I'm just randomly on Joe Montana's Pro Football Reference page, and it won't load. So we could go through those stats as well, too. That wouldn't necessarily be, a bad thing. 40,000 pass yards for Joe Montana. Shout out. Jamar Chase, 1,200, second. If we're going second overall in the league, so he would lead the AFC in. Oh, I guess here it's sorted by receptions. Hey, we should sort by actual receiving yards. Okay, Pickens in Dallas as well, too. The top 4 receiving leaders this year are in the NFC. And then Chase and Collins is second as well, too. Okay, so shout out. He just played 15 games this year. I guess it was, maybe Collins absent from the stats sheet a little bit because of, Stroud being absent in a couple of those games. I guess we'd have to go back and check. Maybe in those games, are we remembering correctly? Was Davis Mills just throwing the ball to Nico Collins every time? I don't know, because there may have been a little bit of that with Flacco and Jamar Chase for sure. And I mean, there's definitely that with Burrow in Chase as well too. I guess Zay Flowers is 8th in the league in receiving yards. Okay, so 3 receiving touchdowns, definitely going to be lower on the fantasy stats, and also 82 receptions as well too. So, a little bit of a big play machine, and is, gonna, because of some of those, your PPR stats, definitely gonna be affected. If your PPR stats are lower, is that gonna mean that maybe you shouldn't make the Pro Bowl? I don't know. But if we're trying to find another yardage touchdown combo guy from the AFC, I guess, with all due respect, we should have been more locked in. It is what it is. Zay Flowers is the choice, and Cortland Sutton is also a 1,000-yard receiver, I guess, at this point as well too. Could somebody go crazy? Alec Pierce is at 871 going into this week. Did he have 100 yards today against the Jags? I don't think so. But I guess he only needs 129 to get to 1,000. Shout out Alec Pierce, 1,000-yard receiver would be a great threshold. That I don't know if I guess we were underestimating him. Oh, is that Hurts with? Oh no, Josh Allen's got. Okay, so it's the Bills getting the reception. That's good. I don't know why we assumed that the pass was going deep and a Bills guys was catching it. It would have been Hurts. I shout out. We're just hoping our guy gets back on track with some of these good performances, get some of these good teams, but Allen as well too, making a big play there. Shout out. Is that Brandon Cooks? Is he making an appearance? Somebody there. Maybe you have to double check that. But for Pierce today, he had 5 targets, 0 catches, 0 yards. So he's setting himself up for a monster 140-yard game next week to try to hit the 1,000-yard mark. But he was at 871 and 4 touchdowns. So you probably got to give, Zay Flowers the nod over that. On 43 catches as well, too. So 20 yards a catch. Pretty insane this year. Is Kelsey 6th? Kelsey is 6th in the AFC. And DK, shout out. We gotta make sure we use the proper name, chat. DK Metcalf. We don't want him just randomly showing up, causing a fight. Is that the only way we can get him on the live stream? Is we have to just start calling him by his real name? I don't know. But 850 yards, 6 touchdowns. So a little bit higher there. But 850 would be 4th in the AFC at this point. Then Travis Kelce at 5th. And then Lad McConkey. So wait a second. So our guy Alec Pierce, we forgot about him. DK would be 6th. And then Travis Kelce's 7th. Lad McConkey 8th for the AFC. So yeah, a lot of between 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, all NFC guys for receiving yard leaders. Wait a second. So of the top 22, how many ways can we phrase this, chat? Of the top 22 guys, only 4 of them are from the AFC this year. Like we said, Chase, Flowers, Sutton, and Alec Pierce are in the top 22 for AFC receivers. So shout out. Zay Flowers was actually, I guess, in some ways the correct move. Maybe we could sort by fantasy points and actually see. But otherwise, you got JSN, Puka, Pickens, Amon-Ra. Oh, wait, we forgot about Nico Collins. Hey, yo. Okay, Nico Collins. Shout out. We gotta double check the list. And Waddle. Okay, there are more guys. 2 more guys. Still though, 6 of the top 22. Diggs 7. So almost half. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. The AFC's catching up. Chat. Shout out the AFC. But it is definitely a little bit more in the sub 1,000-yard range as well too. So Waddle could get there. How many did Waddle have today? Waddle was at 9-10 going into the game, so he could get it in the normal season. We're calling it the normal season. How much time has to pass, I guess, before 17 games becomes normal? Is it more time than we had 16 games? I'm not sure, but here, if we can find Miami. Quinn Ewers looking good in the last couple of games, having some efficiency. Maybe he's actually been able to get Waddle's stats to look okay. The Miami box score is being hidden from the stats at this point. I don't know why the Bleacher Report app is not having it up at this point. Where is the Miami game on the stat sheet? Not Tyler. Yeah, it was Tyler Huntley versus Malik Willis in that game on Saturday night. It is what it is. But hey, yo. Okay, I guess shout out Bleacher Report. They're slacking. We gotta find. Oh, here we go. We got it. It is registered at some point. Okay, Quinn Ewers 172. He had 63 of them to Weiss. Some guy named Weiss, and then Dulcich had 58. So Waddle, 1 target, 0 catches, 0 yards. All these guys that are trying to get, is there some kind of guarantees? The teams are telling their quarterbacks they don't want to pay out the guarantees in the contracts. Is there some sort of under the table, we'll pay you this and then we don't have to pay as much in the guarantee? Would be kind of shady. But hey, yo, looks like, and he still only needs, next week, I guess, 90 yards as well too. Even though, 90 is still a pretty good game. He only needs that to get the 1,000-yard mark versus, I don't know, Alec Pierce, 140-ish would seem like he'd probably be pushing, career-high numbers at that point. Otherwise, Jacoby Myers, 752 going into today. Pittman was at 757. But otherwise, everybody else, I think at this point, we probably caught up with the AFC guys. Everybody else is pretty locked in. McCaffrey, 849. I know his 1,000-yard quest in both is definitely, getting close. And for the 49ers, just historically to have the dual threat quarterbacks like that, or the dual threat running backs like that, where, was it Ricky Waters was the first running back to have 1,000 and 1,000? I mean, did Folk do it? I guess, hey, pause. Whoa. Do we have to look up Marshall Falk's stats? We're talking about, did he have 1,000 yards rushing and receiving in a season is the question we're asking. I guess he would be the other one outside of McCaffrey. That would be the other name dual threat wise that I would think of anyways that could have accomplished that. He did it in 1999. He had 1,300 yards. Or wait a second. Yeah, 99. He had 1,300 yards rushing and 1,048 yards receiving. So I guess we could probably do a quick search as well too and figure it out. And I guess, I just Saquon hasn't had 1,000-yard receiver or anything like that, and McCaffrey hasn't had it before because I think his 2,000-yard, I guess maybe he did in that one 2,000-yard season. We can double check that here and see what it is. I guess here we'll just search 1K receiving yard, 1K receiver, 1K rushing running backs, and see what we get. Roger Craig. It was Roger Craig. Shout out Roger. So yeah, Craig, Folk, and then I guess McCaffrey in 2019. So if McCaffrey does it twice, ooh, McCaffrey over Marshall Falk as the best dual threat running back of all time. That would be a argument that would have to be made. Not to say that Roger Craig wouldn't be in the mix there, but I think what Falk was able to achieve over a couple year stretch was, hot take, pretty impressive. at least statistically. So I guess we could go back and definitely catch up on the Roger Craig highlights as well too. Do we need to double check Ricky Waters stats just to shout him out as well too? Because I mean, he was obviously good enough for us to remember who he was. So San Francisco running back lineage, and I guess they had Waters up until 2001, if the page loads. And then when did they draft Frank Gore? And then Frank Gore was there for forever. So in terms of them having that lockdown starting running back, they weren't necessarily needing to go out and constantly find replacements after you get a stud like that into the roster. 2005 was when they had Gore, and then he played up until 2020. So he was in San Francisco until 2014, 9 years there. The Inconvenient Truth, they have him listed as the Inconvenient Truth on Pro Football Reference. Franklin Gore. You never think about him as Franklin Gore. Hey, yo, Franklin Gore sounds like, maybe that's his Senate run, chat. I don't know. Franklin Gore. We'll have to, Franklin Gore 2020, I guess, winter Senate elections. Maybe we need to get a little more locked in. I'm not sure. But, yeah, Frank Gore, shout out, of course. So I don't know who they had from 01 to 2005. But there is definitely a name that I'm forgetting, because there's a highlight sort of situation, like a run down the sideline. Mariucci was the coach. I vaguely remember Garcia might have been the quarterback. I don't know if we're just going to do a random 49ers look up here and see. I guess their team history would have their leading rusher listed for each season, I think. So we could see who we have here. Barlow? Oh, Hurst. I think I'm thinking of Hurst. Garrison Hurst. Yeah, Garrison Hurst was a 2-time Pro Bowler. So he's been, I guess, made the Pro Bowl in 1998 and then missed 2 seasons due to injury. Hey, yo. Avascular neurosis? Yeah, it does not sound great. And then made the Pro Bowl again in 2001 after missing those 2 seasons. And was, I guess, could have had a half a decade run there potentially at being one of the better running backs in the league. But, yeah, I guess unfortunately had some injury interruptions in the mix. And then I guess Garrison Hurst, whoever Barlow, Kevon Barlow was 3rd round pick, I guess able to hold down the fort as the starting running back until they got Frank Gore. And then Carlos Hyde, Matt Breida, then the Shanahan run of being able to produce, great running back stats anyways. Great run game just in general, even if maybe the name value isn't there for some of the guys. And then obviously McCaffrey as well too. But yeah, Ricky Waters, Roger Craig, shout out. Some good names. I don't know if we can say it's the best running back team of all time. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be teams that immediately step up franchises and be like, no, our running backs are way better. I guess immediately you think the Bears have Peyton and Gale Sayers. That's pretty good. Matt Forte. I mean, he might be the 3rd best running back for the Bears. I don't know if there's another running back sort of in that Peyton era, the Super Bowl era as well too, that the 85, 80, the 80s run where maybe we're missing a name there. But I mean, just those 3 guys. Matt Forte is not a 3rd bad option, even if he's even if he's not your 3rd best actual. So you're still pretty set there. The Ravens, I guess now with Derrick Henry, I don't know, Derrick Henry, Jamal Lewis. Can we, do we throw Ray Rice into the conversation? I guess I don't know. It's because they're running the highlights and they got the press conference going on Red Zone right now is why we're thinking of that. I guess we're not just like we have to shout out Ray Rice in the all-time running back conversation, but I guess he did have the Seahawks. You do have Sean Alexander and Marshawn Lynch, and that is I guess more the last 25 years as well too. Kenneth Walker, how does he fit into the mix in there? If we're talking fantasy hype, that's a pretty good fantasy hype list. I feel like the fantasy hype for Marshawn was actually maybe by the time we started getting into the fantasy mix as well too. I don't know. We have to go back and check his career numbers there, but I don't know if he was ever like the most hyped guy in fantasy. But I mean, was always one of the great producers, and maybe there was like a receiving element of his game as well too. If you start overthinking some of the fantasy stuff and you're like, okay, Marshawn Lynch is going to just be in the 2nd round every year because he's not a receiver, but still gonna have in the Seahawks run, 1,200, 1,500, 1,200, 13 yards every year, and the double-digit touchdowns. I mean, the double-digit touchdowns, I guess, would have had to have locked him in some kind of fantasy capacity, because 2014 would have been the range when we started playing. I guess I don't remember the exact year. We could go back and double check, because I remember which year we took Adrian Peterson as our first ever fantasy pick, and that didn't work out. But so I don't, we could go back and double check which season that was, because that would have been after 2012. So there would have been, maybe it was 13. Maybe it was 13. Then maybe there was 2 seasons there where Marshawn was still, highly productive at that point. And then 14, and then 15, 7 games, 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. Unfortunately, stats go in a little bit of a different direction there. But 800 yards again in Oakland as well, too, on 200 attempts, 7 touchdowns that year. So still pretty good stats from a starting perspective near the end of the run. But, yeah, those 2 guys would be pretty crazy. And I guess we're missing anybody from the Steve Largent era as well, too. That would have been a running back. Oh, the Raiders, I guess, are playing right now as well, too. The Raiders would be another one where you have, if we're talking talent, I don't know if the career numbers from Bo Jackson are going to be, all time. If we're going the most rushing yards from a franchise, I don't know if, unfortunately, Bo Jackson's going to be able to add to the numbers in a crazy way there. But if you're just talking about the football talent that the teams did have on the rosters, where you have Marcus Allen, Bo Jackson. I know we're missing names before Allen as well, too, from maybe like earlier 70s. They're playing the Steelers. Do we say the Daryl LaMonica days? It was Daryl LaMonica and then Ken Stabler? I think it was. So I don't know exactly who the running back for the Raiders was back then. But that could, and I guess, they did have Marshawn as well, too, if we're giving them credit for that, for the 2 seasons. So maybe we do have to be technical with how they actually played on the roster. I guess Allen would be the first great name that we would know for the Raiders. And then, went from Marcus Allen, and then Bo Jackson would have been their next running back. And then they did have Roger Craig for a year. That would have been after his San Francisco run, I guess. So not necessarily getting him at the peak of his powers, unfortunately. And then did they also have Dickerson for a year as well, too? So, I mean, are they like the Clippers of having great running backs? Yeah, they did have Eric Dickerson after the Indy run. So he was still really great in Indy. I mean, in 88, 1,600 yards as well, too. 1,400 touchdowns. The highlights of him running around in the Colts jersey are all-time stuff. That is for sure. But Roger Craig and Eric Dickerson at the end of the runs there, and then Marshawn at the end of the runs. And they also had Reggie Bush as well. Oh, Michael Bush. Ayo. Shout out Michael Bush. Just said Bush was their leading rusher. Ayo, pause. But McFadden, we do know that's Darren McFadden. Yes, sir. Darren McFadden, because they drafted him 4th overall. So another great name. Oh, Latavius Murray. The all-name team. That's for sure. And I guess they have Jeanty now as well, too. So, the all-hyped running back franchise is the Oakland Raiders. I don't know. Alexander Mattinson, it's a great lineage that Jeanty falls here. Josh Jacobs for a while as well, too. He's up there with the most time spent as the franchise leading rusher at this point. I don't know. Maybe we do a franchise, positional rankings at some point. We'll have to see where I guess the teams fall, but could be fun to look in to see there. And the running backs as well, too, especially because not to say the quarterbacks weren't important in NFL history before, but the importance of running backs in NFL history has obviously, decreased a little bit. So there was definitely some high level names back in the day. I mean, we still have a ton of high level names as well, too, but the sort of, the difference in that, and maybe it's a little bit, I don't want to say more stacked than the quarterback list, because again, now it's sort of the opposite, where we're overpopulating with quarterbacks these days. But it is up there for the most. That, and I think defensive line probably would be the funnest to rank and see. But defensive backs as well, too. You're not going to have any shortage of names at any of the spots. So the new year is winding down. I don't know. Maybe we just do like an all 25 team for the NFL, because I did see some publications were, but obviously posting that. I guess I don't know if there was an official like Pro Football Hall of Fame 25 for 25, because I mean we know the NBA does the 50th anniversary teams, 75 anniversary teams. So maybe they were celebrating the quarter century mark as well too. We'll have to see. I mean, we know that, Brady is going to be the starting quarterback for the team. It is what it is. I don't know if there's anybody else that, well, nobody else is, of course, as a lock to get on the list. Maybe Donald as a defensive lineman. Ooh, I think I could see that for sure. If you just like automatically you have to put him on the list. Just defensive players in general. Does it go Tom Brady and Aaron Donald? If you're making the football player, who are the best football players that we've had for the last quarter century, that could be, I mean, you could get a hot take and say that maybe, Aaron Donald's number one. I don't know. But I guess Bleacher Report did a quarter century team before the year. I guess so did ESPN. They weren't giving the guys this season. I don't know if the Mahomes thing is, I guess, could he have passed Brady because the Super Bowl's not in this season? But if they were pacing to win the Super Bowl and we're projecting it again, then maybe he is, it gets a little bit closer. At that point, maybe his argument versus Manning kind of, becomes a little bit more interesting as well too. Do we just shout out our guys, the Ringer? Oh no, the Ringers did it. They did an actual like team bracket. It's like, I guess their final like actual years of teams. So like the 2007 Patriots, like versus whoever else. I don't know. Can the 2000 can they be counted? I guess they can, because they were a great team, but obviously they didn't end up winning the Super Bowl. So I don't know if that counts. But they've got, I guess Google AI's got Belichick as the head coach, Kyle Shanahan as the offensive coordinator, and Wade Phillips as the defensive coordinator. That is interesting. I get that Belichick, from a legacy standpoint, does have to be the head coach, but could you get, if you're getting a little, I guess Shanahan did have a great run as an offensive coordinator in the 21st century here. That Atlanta Super Bowl team was great because of his offense, but you're also really making a head coach and offensive coordinator there because he's been a better, just a great head coach for a lot of years now. So could you make Belichick the defensive coordinator, Shanahan the offensive coordinator, and then maybe Andy Reid the coach? Maybe you make Andy Reid the coach. Maybe you make Sean McVay the coach. Imagine Sean McVay's the head coach, the boss of the room, with Bill Belichick in the room. That'd be hilarious. Bill Belichick, schemed up a Super Bowl, beat Sean McVay, but Sean McVay's got to be the head coach of the team because Bill Belichick's got to focus on the defense. It is all because Bill Belichick tanked the season at North Carolina. Now he's got to be the defensive coordinator on the all-time team. Shout out. But I'm not against, I guess if we have Belichick, our defense is probably going to be fine. I just don't know, no disrespect to Wade Phillips. His defenses were, pretty good. So I don't know if it's, again, the team's not going to be bad if we have Wade Phillips as our secondary defensive mind, behind Bill Belichick. But is that the best version of the coaching staff that we could put together? I mean, you could check the tapes. That schematically as well too, we would have to put Shanahan on the list. I just don't know how you can have Andy Reid not on this list. And maybe, I don't know if you can have Shanahan as the defensive coordinator and then just have him wander over to the offensive room every now and then. Maybe you don't even have a defensive coordinator. Belichick's just the head coach, defensive, lead defensive coach. And then, they were always weird with the coaching labels in New England. So Andy Reid's just like assistant head coach. You have two offensive coordinators, and then Belichick handles the defense. But Andy Reid has to be in the mix for the head coaching all quarter century team, because not even the Kansas City team, not even just the Kansas City run. I mean, he kind of has done, he do more in Philly with that team than Shanahan has done in San Francisco. And again, we're talking to, we're pro Shanahan here. We love Shanahan. It's just the individual spots on the rankings. Andy Reid would be one of the only guys from the quarter century mark that we'd rank over him. I guess we can't say one of the only guys because, again, Shanahan hasn't even won a Super Bowl in in the last 21 years, and there have been guys that have, besides Andy Reid and Belichick. I guess, McVay did win as well too. Are we throwing Pete Carroll in the list? Are we throwing Jim Harbaugh on the list? Tony Dungy, Tom Coughlin? You could definitely make a case for Coughlin. The thing would be kind of the regular season records of some of those Giants teams, but the playoff achievements that those, the underdog nature that those teams were able to have was definitely pretty fun. So if you had him in the coaching room, I'm sure he could, definitely be additive as well too. Do we have Bill Belichick and Bill Billick? Is that his name from the Ravens? Shout out back in the day. Do we just try to assemble all the a comedy cast of names, where just all these guys with the same names of the head coach? There's got to be another Bill Bella something guy that we can find to be a defensive coordinator. Because again, if we have Belichick, it's Brian Billick. It's not Bill Bella. That's what I was like. Bill Billick doesn't sound quite right, but I think it's Brian Billick. Shout out. But Dungy could have a case as well too. Won a Super Bowl, built that Tampa team up, and then Gruden ended up winning a Super Bowl as well too. I don't know if Gruden is going to be in the mix for this coaching argument, but yeah, it's got to be Reid, and maybe we just keep it simple. Why do we even have to include Shanahan? Not say why do we have to include Shanahan, but maybe it's just our two coaches are Andy Reid and Bill Belichick, and Andy Reid's going to focus on some of the offensive stuff, and Bill Belichick will handle some of the defensive stuff, maybe game management as well too, and Andy can take a little bit of take a little bit of that off Andy Reid's plate. Chat, game management. We're not trying to take anything off Andy Reid's plate, but if we had to start choosing, we would say maybe game management would be one of those things. I don't know, just to be safe, and then that obviously Brady, like we're saying, is the quarterback of the team. Mahomes and Manning as the other two would feel pretty safe, and it's because that guys like Lamar and Josh Allen haven't quite had the playoff success. I think those guys would be, you can't say locks to be all-time quarterbacks over a guy like Peyton Manning, because again, Peyton's one of the smartest, quickest processing quarterbacks that we've ever had. But there is obviously an athletic case that both of those guys would have to be on the list. But nobody over Brady. It is what it is, and like we said, nobody over Donald as well too. Is Sports Illustrated still? Are they still prestigious? Do we still rely on what they're saying here for a 25 all 25 team? If this was in 2000 or I don't know 70s, how far back do we have to go to make this SI as legit as possible? They're still legit. I guess the Remington Pod's not going to be the ones to take away the legitness of Sports Illustrated. It is what it is. But they've got, speaking of running backs, Tomlinson as the first team running back for the all 25 team. We're not going to argue with it. And, when we're talking about the dual threat running backs as well, too, it's not like Tomlinson doesn't have that dual threat ability. He just didn't get mentioned in our conversation because he didn't have the 1,000-yard statistical mark that we were talking about there. I don't know what his highest receiving mark was here. I guess we can double check that and see. But I don't know if he was ever, 700-800 yards as well, too. Because, his major all-purpose yardage season, he had 1,800 rush yards. So, it's going to take up a check on that. 508 would have been his highest. 725. He did have a 725, 100-yard 725 in 2003, early on in his career. Didn't make the Pro Bowl that year. 16 games, 1,600 rush yards, 725. Yeah, how do you have 300? How do you have 370 yards and not make the Pro Bowl? What is happening? How are you second team all pro? Oh, this is crazy, chat. I'm just gonna break my brain. We might have to figure out what happened in 2003. This is a new segment on the Rem and Sam pod called What Happened in 2003. They split the MVP between Peyton Manning and Steve McNair. So we're not saying that that's a bad thing necessarily. McNair looking like he has a pretty efficient season. Ended up on the second team as well. So maybe you just commit one way or the other. McNair wins the MVP, is on second team, and then Manning's on first team. Manning was on first team, but just give McNair the MVP then. At that point, that's obviously the case, right? The guy that's on second team gets the MVP. But the first team running back that year, Priest Holmes, oh, he had 27 touchdowns. Okay, well, I guess what do you do, chat? What do you do? It is what it is. 1,300 rush yards, and Priest Holmes, I think, could get the receiving yards himself here. Let's see what he had. Yes, 672. Oh, wait, that was in 2002, but 2003, 690. 74 catches, 690. No receiving touchdowns, but I think 27 in the rushing touchdown department is enough there. So, yeah, 2,100 yards and 27 touchdowns for Priest Holmes versus, if we go back to Tomlinson here in 2003, it was 2,300 yards, 17 touchdowns. So, yeah, in 2006, of course, 2,300 yards and 31 touchdowns as well, too. I mean, just insane. Let's see here. So, as a rookie, 1,600 yards from scrimmage, and then that would have been from 2001, and then all the way till 2008, he would have been averaging 1,400 yards a year and 1,500 touchdowns just from a rushing standpoint, and 475 yards a year receiving. And how many touchdowns? I guess two reception touchdowns a year. So, nothing super crazy there. But yet, 8 years, he's basically 1,900 yards from scrimmage and 18 touchdowns a season is pretty crazy. So, difficult to argue with LaDainian Tomlinson being number one, but we definitely saw a little bit more of Peterson's peak as well, too. So just, for us watching it, it would have been Peterson. And also LaDainian Tomlinson, maybe not Tomlinson, maybe a little bit more Sproles as well, too. But Tomlinson, a part of those Chargers teams that did get some early upsets against the Colts, which, if we're being honest, was one of the reasons that even going back to the 2020 signing, is that the right season, 2019? The first time the Colts signed Phillip Rivers, that's why we would have been, I don't know if hesitant would have been the right term, because he did have those moments against the Colts where he did cause major disappointment. So I guess you're saying, are we setting ourselves up for more disappointment? But it's like, hey, this guy was the enemy, and now he's going to be our starting quarterback. This guy was getting the playoff upsets, and now he's going to try to lead our team. I don't know if it's like a Trojan horse situation as well, too. We got the Odyssey in our mind now. The trailer's dropping. But, that season did work out. And, now he's back. The Colts, it's, a great relationship at this point, I guess. But, those teams were definitely a little brutal in the way we remember him because of those playoff moments. And, again, Tomlinson as well, too. There's that pain, chat. There's that pain associated. Pause. But there's that emotion, that sports pain associated with thinking about Tomlinson, because, and it's to his credit as well, too, and to those teams' credit. I guess to some degree that's what you want, to have those moments against the other teams, and means you're achieving success for yourself. Is that's how sports works. One fan base is gonna be happy, the other is not. But unfortunately, in those years, ours was the fan base that was not happy. So again, and also the Jets as well, too. Was he on the Jets team that knocked the Colts out of the playoffs early? Okay, wait a second, we got to go back and check Tomlinson one more time here. When was he? 2010 and 2011. So the peak of the Jets, I mean, no joke, the last 30 years at this point. And they would have been 8-8 the first year he was there, so didn't end up making the playoffs, but 6-10. So I guess he got there after the playoff run. Wait, did they make the playoffs at 8-8? Am I just reading this wrong? It doesn't have their playoff results on it, so I think that means they didn't make the playoffs. Okay, yeah, 2010, 11-5, and won against the Colts in the wild card that year. So I guess, it's close enough. He was on the team the next year that we're associating him with it, but we don't have to, directly associate him with that team as well. Oh no, wait, he was on this team, 2010. Okay, I don't know why did we must have clicked on the wrong year that we thought as well. it is what it is. But okay, yeah. So the next year was the year that they missed the playoffs. The second year he was there, but the first year he was there was the year that they eliminated the Colts from the playoffs. So 3 times he eliminated the Colts in the first round of the playoffs. It is what it is. And again, I don't know if we directly go back and check his stats in those games as well too. Maybe not, but yeah, definitely some tough sports memories associated with Tomlinson. So maybe that is the case for him there. But just to shout out Peterson as well too, because of course the season that he had, just from a rushing standpoint, 2,000-yard season in Minnesota was pretty crazy, and did only play 12 games in 2011, the year before that as well too. So you've got 2011, 2013 he plays 14 games, and then 2014, I guess there we go, we can confirm 2014 is the first year we started playing fantasy, because he had 21 carries and 75 yards and 0 touchdowns. And I vividly remember us being very excited to have him. But hey, I guess we took a, I don't know, 29-year-old running back, still not bad. Adrian Peterson, 2 years removed from 2,000 yards. Maybe we took him a little bit too high in the draft. I don't remember. We'd have to go back and check the board from that league 10 years ago at this point. That would have been before computers, though. That was a manual, not necessarily the score. The league was on a computer, but the draft board was written down, and then the commissioner would go in and enter the teams after that. So still, I guess, in-person drafts, not some, but I feel like even if you're doing an in-person draft now, you got the online setup, right? And everybody's just drafting off the computer version, because then, hey, yeah, it saves the commissioner some work. Like, how much, I guess if the commissioner then starts taxing, I guess if you pay into the league, then do you want the commissioner to enter the teams? I don't know. Maybe DM us at RemSandPod and see how the economics of your fantasy league work. But, regardless, the next year Peterson had 1,400 yards and 11 touchdowns. So was the best running back in the league that year. Once again, just started a great run of me jinxing fantasy guys when I take him in the first round, because we had Odell the year he tore his ACL. I think maybe 25th. I don't know if that would have been 15. I think that would have been 16 the next year. I can't remember who our fantasy guy was in 15. Oh, it was Lacy. Eddie Lacy. What a run, chat. Peterson, Eddie Lacy, Odell. I think James Conner was. Oh, David Johnson. David Johnson was in the mix. Some great, running backs, dual threat running backs. David Johnson didn't have the year after, I don't think, to quite be like, oh, we just got him on this random year. That was bad luck. But yeah, Peterson did have some question, not some question, but some what if years statistically as well too. Because again, this is in his 20s. He's got 3 seasons here or 2 seasons where he doesn't get 1,000 yards, 970 in the one getting close, but then that 75, that one game season in 14, 3 games played in 2016, and then, 2017, 32, the injuries and stuff kind of starting to take their toll. So he definitely, if again, we're just talking, I guess, the football talent once again, not to say that, it's definitive that he was a better player than Tomlinson. Like, that's a crazy, crazy argument. But as a running back, it's pretty close. I mean, they were pretty equal in yardage, and, Tomlinson did have a little extra juice in the receiving game. I don't know. You could talk me into Tomlinson being the better running back. I don't think it's a difficult conversation. I think it just happened. So yeah, there we go. Tomlinson, it makes sense. He has to be the guy. Though if we did take seasons, if we were just going wine bottle seasons, shout out the BS pod, then we would consider bringing back that Priest Holmes season as well too. Because who else has rushed for 27 touchdowns in a year? Hey, yo, that's crazy. And who else is as fun as Priest Holmes? I guess speaking of running back franchises, the Chiefs are a fun one. The Chiefs might be number 1. Hey, yo, not to get the homer. I guess what's up being a homer for our guy because we're a homer for our guy. I don't know how that works, but. We're homering. We're a homer for Chiefs because we'll root for Sam, I guess, in any case. But for Chiefs running backs, I guess unfortunately the Mahomes era is when it has started to tail off, because it was quite a run, and they did have Marcus Allen as well too, bringing his name back up and for a couple more years, not maybe a Marshawn Lynch in Oakland, situation. But if we go, yeah, even back to the 60s as well too. Who was the running back when they won the Super Bowl? Mike Garrett, two-time Pro Bowler. Had a decent 66, 67, starting off his career strong, 800, 1,000 yards. Ed Podolak, Iowa legend, chat. Shout out the home state here. Went to college, of course, in the home state, but has been the analyst on one of the analysts on Iowa radio games for our entire lives. I'm sure we could figure out his start date for that, but for as long as we can remember. Hey, yeah, we all have grandparents. Hopefully at one point, chat. So, there was a time where it was like, okay, the grandpa's gonna be throwing the Iowa game on the radio. I don't think it's a tradition that we've carried on. Unfortunately, I guess we just will watch it. But Podolak, or driving around, the thing is as well too, driving around. I guess if you have Sirius, then you're gonna probably commit to that. But if you have Bluetooth, you can just, obviously we're not watching the game and driving, but if you got Bluetooth, you can just listen to game audio in your car as well too. So if Podolak's not calling the game on TV, then you're not going to be listening to the game that way. But hey, if you are ever driving through the state during an Iowa game and you just happen to be in the region where Ed Podolak is on the airwaves, then you're in for a good time. What's the other announcer's name? I want to say it's Gary. It might just be Gary Dolph, but it could also be Gary Dolphin. Gary Dolphin and Ed Podolak. It's a pretty dynamic name duo, that's for sure. But Ed Podolak, great Chiefs running back in the day. That's just an iconic, 70s running back name. 60s, 70s running back. Who was a good running back in the day? Ed Podolak. That's for sure. But I guess up until the Marcus Allen run. Maybe the Marcus Allen run was the start. And then you got Christian Okoye was before Marcus Allen. So Okoye, Marcus Allen, Priest Holmes, Larry Johnson, Jamal Charles. I guess not necessarily Kareem Hunt, Ayo. And the football talent was there for a couple seasons. That's for sure. I guess the rookie year he was 1,300 yards. Ayo, 8 touchdowns. But I don't know if we say Eddie Lacy, because he has had a career a little bit. But, who would have guessed Kareem Hunt more of a career than Eddie Lacy? Different times that would have been more surprising than others. But the Chiefs are a sneaky great running back franchise for sure. So Priest Holmes in consideration. But yeah, probably going to be, if we have to have one running back, probably going to be Tomlinson or Lynch as well too. Be difficult to leave Lynch off, even with that team was winning a Super Bowl with him, made another Super Bowl with him as well. Obviously the defense was a major part of that, but the play action stuff and what they were accomplishing out of that with the passing game with Russell Wilson off of the Marshawn Lynch rush game was definitely very important as well too. And we all know they should have ran the football at the end of the Super Bowl, so if that doesn't prove his value a little bit as well. I don't know if Moss has to be, from a football talent standpoint, the number one receiver. And I guess if we're talking the increase in positional talent lately as well too, the quarterback names are getting flooded in, but the receiver talent as well has definitely been flooded in, where how do you even consider guys like Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson on the list? Those guys haven't obviously played even near long enough to be in the mix with some of these great, there's going to be so many great receiver names that you could list off, but are Jefferson and Jamar Chase less talented than those guys? And again, statistically, what they're accomplishing early in their career is equally, if not more impressive. I just pulled up Jefferson's numbers. He's sitting at 947 going into, I guess, after 16 games played for him. So going into his 17 game, he will need, less than 60 yards. Hopefully he's still able to continue his 1,000-yard streak, because that would be 6 seasons of 1,000 yards or more. Puts him on pace for the Mike Evans thing. I don't know if he's at this point proven the durability of, obviously, Mike Evans, one of the most durable receivers we've had, but would still at least keep the streak alive. 2 touchdowns though is brutal, though we know that maybe a little bit outside of Jefferson's control at times. Is Mike Evans, do we have to consider Mike Evans in the 25 for 25 receiver team? The other name that I would think of immediately would be Calvin Johnson, and then the other name that I would think of would be Larry Fitzgerald. So I don't know if I would be biased, and those would be my three guys, would be Moss, Fitzgerald, and Calvin Johnson. I think they would be. Hey, yo, we're probably pretty set with that receiving core. And, there's various reasons why maybe there's some other names that you wouldn't consider right off the bat as well, too. Because, like a guy like, if we're just, again, talking the football talent, a guy like Antonio Brown would have to be in the mix. You would have to make the case for the peak football of Antonio Brown. Like, I know that, again, it's really, unfortunate that that's just not what you think of now when you think of Antonio Brown. It's pretty crazy, again, for what his on-the-field achievements were, that is even the case. But he was 4 years in a row, first team All-Pro receiver, 1,700 yards, 1,800 yards, 1,500 yards, 1,300 yards, 1,500 yards, 1,300 yards again. Constantly, again, the double-digit touchdown type range, and just the route running ability. And even Tyreek Hill. Oh, Chad, how do we leave Tyreek Hill off? So now we're building an actual, this is an actual football team at this point, because I don't know if he's put up Larry Fitzgerald type stats or even Calvin Johnson type stats. Again, in individual seasons, he's been close, obviously, and been on pace to even break records at certain points. But if we're just talking about how guys could affect a field, like if you had Moss in Tyreek Hill, I get that the off the bus factor of Calvin Johnson, Fitzgerald, and Randy Moss, you've got three pretty terrifying receivers, and maybe that one-on-one ability does make me want to just choose that group at the end of the day. Even a guy like Andre Johnson as well, too. If you're just like, okay, we're just going to commit to having this huge receiving room, pause. Like, I understand the appeal to that, I guess. But if you had the speed and vertical ability of both Tyreek Hill and Randy Moss at the same time, your offense would literally be unstoppable. Did Josh Allen just throw a pick? Hey, yo. Or was that a punt? I think he might have just thrown a pick. Oh, no. Or no, wait, did he get sacked and then they punted? Either way, I guess, it's in that same range for changing over the field position for Philly getting the ball back. Quinn Ewers, the fourth QB in the University of Texas to win a game as a rookie since 1950? Oh, is that good for Texas? Whoa, that's win a game as a rookie. So NFL tweeted that out with a fire emoji, I guess. Again, it's great that's, in a sense, he's only the fourth guy to achieve something. But, for the University of Texas, since the 50s, like there's been runs in there where we can't say that Texas hasn't been irrelevant since the 50s. But they haven't had a quarterback. They've had 4 quarterbacks win a start as a rookie. So I know that Vince Young is the other name that you would think right away for Texas quarterbacks in the NFL. But I guess as I'm trying to recall, I guess you can't really think of any. And again, the names of the great Texas college quarterbacks, or at least, from this run as well too. Shout out Colt McCoy. And Colt McCoy did have an NFL career as well too. It's not like, he wasn't around for a while. Did he play a decade? Let's see here. 2010 to 2022. Shout out. How many yards did Colt McCoy have career? Over under, chat. Can you guys guess? Over under. Did Colt McCoy throw for more or less than 10,000 career receiving yards for Colt McCoy? Career passing yards. It is under. It's 79-75. Maybe we should have set the bar at 8,000, but then that would have been a little too specific. But I don't know, if he had gotten to 10,000, that wouldn't have been, I guess, too surprising, looking at the fact that he's like a decent season as a backup away there. But yeah, I guess, what other great University of Texas quarterbacks would you recall being drafted there? I'm not sure. Priest Holmes, Earl Campbell, so they've definitely produced the running backs, and Jamal Charles as well too. So I don't know if we now go running back colleges, because Oklahoma State is another one that, didn't they have Barry Sanders, and maybe around the same time as well too, like Barry Sanders, Thurman Thomas, and Billy Sims, I think are all Oklahoma State. So that's pretty crazy. Oh, Ricky Williams. I mean, I guess they haven't even needed quarterbacks, chat. Hey, yo, speaking of the running back importance, if you're just going from Earl Campbell to Priest Holmes to Ricky Williams and Jamal Charles, like you kind of have a guy that's able to carry the offense at some point. But Texas quarterbacks, is Quinn Ewers going to be one of the best Texas quarterbacks ever in NFL history? Can we get a list here of Texas drafted quarterbacks? Vince Young, Tommy Wade, Chris Sims, Rick McIver, Colt McCoy, Gary Keithley, Garrett Gilbert, Quinn Ewers, Sam Ellinger. Sam Ellinger might be one of the four, honestly. Tony Adams. Oh, Bobby Lane. Bobby Lane's definitely got to be the best one. Okay, because Bobby Lane's in the Hall of Fame, is he not? Let's double check here. Yeah, Bobby Lane, Hall of Famer. The Curse of Bobby Lane. The blonde bomber. Whoa, hey, yo, I don't know. Pro Football Reference can have that nickname up there anymore, but we got 6 Pro Bowls, 3-time NFL champ, Hall of Fame All-50s team for our guy Bobby Lane. So I'm assuming he won some. Oh, he only started one game as a rookie, and I guess it would have been in 1948, so it wouldn't have counted. This was since 1950. So Bobby Lane doesn't get included in the greatest Texas quarterbacks for rookies since 1950. Yeah, that is. And that's all the drafted quarterbacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 drafted quarterbacks from Texas in the last 75 years. Whoa. That is kind of crazy. Chris Sims is the 3rd best Texas quarterback of all time in the NFL. He was 1-1 as a rookie. So it would probably be Chris Sims as one of the options. Let's see, Tommy Wade. Tommy Wade played 5 games, 1 as a rookie, 0-2 his second year. Just to double check Vince Young's rookie season, 8-5, chat. Yeah, Vince Young 8-5, 9-6, and then 3 games played in 2008, and then 8-2 the next year. I mean, hey, yo, Vince Young, great quarterback. Shout out. We would run the career back in the NFL a couple of those seasons for sure. But yeah, hey, yo, I guess I didn't realize the Texas NFL quarterback thing was that bleak. But yeah, I guess Bobby Lane 1, Vince Young 2, Chris Sims 3. Quinn Ewers is already the 4th best quarterback in Texas NFL history. It is what it is. So maybe he's on the quarter century, the all quarter century team here. And I guess we can actually go to the stat head and double check. Let's see if we can get the background working for this here quickly and see what we've got here. If we can check for the most receiving yards since 2000 and then make sure we're not missing anybody. And I guess if we go, the next 25 years, then you get the conversation for the newer guys. Jokic ran into this problem in the NBA All 75 conversation where it's like, okay, Jokic is clearly going to be one of the great players that we have, but just because of the timing that we do this list, he's not going to be on. See, Wemby, there's really no even thought to Wemby not making that list because he wasn't even really, in the mix for the league at this point when it was around. So, it's just the timing of like, oh yeah, the league's going to go on and we're going to get more great players, whatever. But Jokic is just like, do we just commit and just say that he should be on the list? So I don't know if we do that but then who do we pick between Jefferson and Chase? I don't know. Maybe we just, and then what are we getting from their games that we don't get from, like we're saying, Fitzgerald or Calvin Johnson? But maybe those guys would have passed up, like, I don't know. Andre Johnson would be right in the mix though for top 5 from the past 25 years as well. So let's get a list going and see if the names that we're mentioning, if we're forgetting anybody filtered in the top there. So I know 5,000 yards seems like a pretty safe cutoff here to look at. Fitzgerald, the fantasy points leader. Shout out, getting the touchdowns and the receptions in the mix as well too. 1,400 receptions in that time. Oh, Jason Witten. So I guess we just went all players too. We might even have some running backs show up in this list. But Fitzgerald leads in receiving yards and receptions. So I guess Fitzgerald is the number one lock. Who did we say was the number one lock? Randy Moss was the number one lock. So he's actually 15th all-time for, I guess, all-time 15 since 2000. So wait, what year was Randy Moss drafted? I guess not to say that I didn't know that Randy Moss didn't play in the 90s, but was it like 96? Yeah, 98. So he was, obviously really cooking those 2 years as well, too. Let's double check. Did he have like 5,000 yards in 2 seasons? He definitely might have. I guess that would have been 2,500 yards a year. Probably not, but 1,300 and 1,400 yards. So I guess, 3,000 yards off the table. That would put him second. Hot take, that would put him second. I guess if we're being technical, Torrey Holt, Terrell Owens, all these guys did have a little bit of a 90s run as well, too. But we know Randy Moss is higher than 15th all time in receiving yards. But it goes Fitzgerald, Steve Smith Sr., and that Panthers team did make a Super Bowl. That's a sneaky one for sure. Reggie Wayne. Whoa. Reggie Wayne. More yards than Marvin Harrison. Definitely surprising. And Andre Johnson fourth. Reggie Wayne more than Andre Johnson is great for the AFC South rivalry there. Shout out. I guess a couple more seasons. So, I guess we drafted earlier, but retired earlier as well too. Makes sense. Bolden, number 5. Definitely... I don't want to say definitely not in the mix, but is also a name that should get brought up as one of the great consistent receivers that we've had for the last 25 years as well, too. Hopkins, if he had more playoff success early on, one of the what ifs as well, but unfortunately that didn't quite work out. And then you see, Fitzgerald with the longevity as well, too. Like, there was a special thing going there. It's not like, he's also a little bit down in the mix, and then, we're making the case for him higher. Like, he's just generally the best receiving stats across the board. I see Owens does have more touchdowns. So, wait, he might be second in touchdowns. Let's see here. Third. Oh, Moss has more touchdowns. Shout out, 128. So, didn't need those 2 seasons early on to build that up. I guess that's the Patriots run in there as well, too, being in the 2000s. We've got our tight ends we can mention. Shout out 3 in a row. They're sticking together, chat. Tight end you. Pause. Tony Gonzalez, Jason Witten, Travis Kelce, 9, 10, or 8, 9, and 10. And then Mike Evans is 11th. Devontae Adams, Owens, Torrey Holt, Randy Moss, Brandon Marshall, and then we get Antonio Brown, Keenan Allen, Calvin Johnson. A little farther down the list than you thought, but 731 receptions. Whoa. He was, again, you just chucked the ball to Calvin Johnson, and he would catch it every time. Did he have half? He had half of the amount of receptions as Larry Fitzgerald. That's crazy. He's only, I guess, quote unquote only, but not really half the amount of yards behind Fitzgerald. But wait, where's he at for receptions here? Let's see. He had less. Oh, more. Okay, I was going to say, if he had less receptions than Jarvis Landry, but he's close. Less receptions than Donald Driver. Oh, Chad Johnson. That's a good trivia question. Who has had more receptions in their career, Chad Johnson or Calvin Johnson? It was actually Chad Johnson. And Chad Johnson, 1,159 to wait. Calvin Johnson, 619. Okay, so he did have a few more yards than Ocho as well, too. Shout out. But Ocho can be considered. Ocho can be considered. Let's double check the Pro Bowl, All-Pro situations. I guess technically he's not in the Hall of Fame. So, can he be considered? I guess, what are we? We're not the Hall of Fame. We're not sponsored by the Hall of Fame. He doesn't necessarily have to be in the Hall of Fame to be considered on our list. So we can consider him. Shout out 6 Pro Bowls. I mean, that's a half a decade of him being one of the best receivers in the league. More so, I think that is definitely enough to be considered. 2002, he had 1,100 yards. His second season was his first season really breaking out. And then was a 1,000-yard receiver basically till 2009. Had a 2008 season that was a little bit down there. And I guess in 2010 as well, too, he was 800 yards. So he was right there for being in that statistical contention if he had continued to play the games. But 170 targets in 2004, only 95 catches. Oh, Chad, if Carson Palmer had been a little more accurate in 2004, maybe he would have had a different statistical year. Donald Driver, Santana Moss, some of these other great, again, you don't want to say forgotten names, but I definitely would not have thought of Donald Driver for a while if we were doing this list. But yeah, obviously a great receiver there. Did he win a Super Bowl with, I don't know, well, not with Favre, but he won one with Rodgers. of course, near the end of his career there. It was just, I guess, with Favre, a reliable target. I don't know if he was there in the 90s run. I know they had, well, I guess we don't know who they had. Who's the guy that made that crazy highlight catch so that was bouncing paws off of Vikings receivers and stuff? We don't know. But you got Tyreek Hill with 1,100 yards, 83 touchdowns. 13.9 is the average. So wait here, of the 5,000 yard receiving guys, who had the best average? Oh, Deshaun Jackson. Oh, shout out. I do like the way that played out. If we're just talking about dynamic down the field threats, yeah, that is one of just, you can picture him flying down the field on a go route. I don't know if you want to say the go route specific receivers, but this is a fun list. Deshaun Jackson, Malcolm Floyd, Vincent Jackson, rest in peace, Torrey Smith, then Calvin Johnson as well too. 5th in average. Lee Evans. I think Lee Evans is also was Lee Evans a tight end? Getting 16 yards a carry, 16 yards a catch. And then Kenny Britt, Joey Galloway, Santana Holmes, Mike Evans as well too. Mike Evans, one of the underrated fast receivers that we've had over the last one. T.Y. Hilton, number 12. Hey, yo, shout out T.Y. Plexico Burris, A.J. Brown, Antonio Bryant. Also in the mix, Randy Moss, Mike Evans, Brandon Lloyd, Gronkowski. So 23 guys, 15 or more yards a target. Wait, we did the touchdowns. So the 100 touchdowns club was Moss, Owens, Fitzgerald, Devontae Adams, Antonio Gates, and Mike Evans. 6 guys, 100 touchdowns for the 25 for 25. So let's look at per game real quick, because that would be an interesting way to check some of the newer guys that, like we were saying, haven't quite had the chance to match that. I guess here, wait a second. How do we gotta sort by display? What do we want to display? The per game. Where do we find that at, chat? I feel like the NBA one you can choose, but maybe it was on here and we just missed it already. Oh, I guess, yeah, receiving yards per game. Here we go. Let's see. We got, oh, Jefferson and Chase are 1 and 2. Whoa, look at that. The 2 best receivers of the last 25 years are actually Jefferson and Chase. So again, they've actually, at this point as well too, have played their best football, thankfully that's happened earlier in their career, but they haven't had the, we're not even saying, I guess in some ways, Jefferson's having a little bit of the down year this year and still at 90 yards a game as well, which is insane. Which you've got Johnson at 86, Antonio Brown at 84. So wait, where was Fitzgerald at? So again, not to discount him, because, again, obviously some guys didn't quite have as many great seasons as Larry Fitzgerald, but still, just to show you how dynamic Jefferson has been to start his career, Fitzgerald was 66 yards a game for his career, and Jefferson is at 90. So again, we're 6 seasons in. It's not like it's a short start. So I know, can we filter the first 6 years of a guy's career? Let's see, I guess biological factor. Yeah, years of a player's career. Here we go. First season to their 6th season. How do those guys match up now against those other names? Okay, we're really putting to the test here and seeing what we've got. Oh, Tyreek Hill. Now our guy Tyreek Hill's back in the mix. Oh, Julio Jones. Whoa, so this is interesting. Julio Jones is the best start to the career. 96 yards a game. Almost 100 yards a game for the first 6 years of his career for Julio Jones is insane. And then Torrey Holt at 92, getting that Rams offense as well, too, at the right time. Greatest show on turf. But, it was the greatest show on turf because of the guys that were on that team. And then Jefferson is 3rd. Then Moss 4th. Jamar Chase 5th. Beckham 6th. Calvin Johnson 7th. Michael Thomas 8th. Shout out Michael Thomas. AJ Green. Speaking of Michael Thomas as well too. I don't know what, going back and double checking his overlap with Breeze, but his opportunity to, continue to have great career stats definitely could have been there. I don't know what he would have been looking like now. What year was he drafted? 2016. So year 9 with Tyler Shuck. I don't know. Maybe he could still be, 1,200 yards a year. I guess is not necessarily super surprising. And then here, wait, if we go touchdowns, Gronk 65 touchdowns. Speaking of good offenses, Fitzgerald though didn't even need good offenses, didn't even need yards. Somehow he got touchdowns with no yards. That's crazy. 59 touchdowns, 7,000 yards. Where was he at here? 10th in yards, but first in touchdowns. So always getting into the end zone. Des Bryant also 59 touchdowns, 5,800 yards. So, again, Cowboys offense, Romo, they were really efficient at that time. Some DeMarco Murray years there maybe as well too, though that might have been the end of Bryant. I guess only 5 years for Des Bryant. Hey, again, what do we do? We need to do a list. You don't want to call it the what if list. Again, this would be a version of the 1 season list as well too. The 5-year run list, the 2-year run list, where it is just a list of guys like that, where it's like Des Bryant, and I guess you don't want to say like, Josh Gordon as well too, because Josh Gordon, there's like specific reasons. Like, do we have to go back and revisit the Des Bryant Wikipedia page? Like, did he get hurt? Like, I don't remember exactly why the Des Bryant career tailed off, but there are careers that are like that. There are careers that, not to be disrespectful, again, 5 great years in the NFL. Who else, what percentage of people that have ever lived have had 5 great years in the NFL? Would we love to have 5 great years in the NFL? Obviously. But, if we're just having the conversation and comparing it out, I'm just asking why, it was the 5 seasons that it was. I guess if we can double check here. Missed most of his junior season for violating an NCAA bylaw. So maybe Bryant, the NIL stuff maybe would have helped him out. But I don't know if we go back and double check what that was as well too. Professional career. Let's just scroll to the end and see what it says. Injured reserve. 2012, 2010, made his NFL debut, blah, 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 blah. Finished his rookie season 2011. With the departure of Roy Williams, 2012. Shout out Roy Williams as well, too. One of the other just, like, great random names that you could throw out there. 2013, 9 receptions for 141 in week 2. 2014, entering the final year of his rookie contract, managed to improve. The most productive year of his career. Okay, I guess we're not necessarily scrolling to the end here and seeing what happened. They placed a non-exclusive franchise tag on him, reached a 5-year, $70 million contract that included $45 million in guarantees during a Sunday night game against the Giants. Yeah, he did get a foot injury, a fracture in his foot that required surgery. Recovery time was 4 to 6 weeks. He returned in week 8 against Seahawks, 2 receptions for 12 yards. So wait, let me pull up those stats real quick then and see what those look like. Is there just like a definite drop off in what happened there? Maybe we're just doing too much random research at this point as well too. But hey, the playoff picture we'll have next week to sort that out. It was kind of a low-key week in the NFL this week, so it seems maybe like the most fitting path to go down, honestly. Pause. But he was, I guess here, let's go. We're looking the game log. 2016, it was versus the Giants, and then returned, had 113 yards versus Philly on 4 catches and a touchdown. So that game was pretty good. 9 for 116 and a touchdown against Pittsburgh. So he was honestly pretty fine. Maybe Wikipedia. Untrustworthy. And then 80-72. He was pretty good returning from injury. He was 71 yards a game and almost a touchdown a game from weeks 4 to weeks 16 week 8 to week 16, and he missed weeks 4, 5, and 6. And then in 2017 played all 16 games, had 69 catches for 838. Oh yeah, and then it just says right on Pro Football Reference, injured Achilles. So he tore his Achilles at 30 years old. Yeah, I mean, what do you do? And then 9 games played in 2015 at 400 yards. Yeah, I guess just 3 injury-riddled seasons that he could have still been productive, but those overall career numbers would have just been a little lower as well, too. And you look, his rookie year, 561. His second year, 928. Again, the football talent clearly there. But, and I guess per game, I guess because of the injuries, the per game stuff is there as well. Jimmy Graham. Nobody was a better tight end for a couple years there than Jimmy Graham. Eric Decker. Speaking of guys, great situations, just starting off your career basically with Peyton Manning. With Tim Tebow, directly from Tim Tebow to Peyton Manning is a pretty great run as well, too. Back-to-back AJs, AJ Green, and AJ Brown. Oh, DMs at Remington Pod. Let us know which AJ receiver would you rather have, AJ Green or AJ Brown. Are there any more AJs that we can have to put in the mix here? Alshon Jeffrey, maybe he goes by AJ sometimes. I don't know. DJ Moore, AJ Moore. Just a little typo, and then we're good to go. Amon-Ra St. Brown, ARSB. I don't know. Maybe we tread lightly there, but yeah, it would be, like we're saying, probably still a little too early to include some of those guys. But yes, obviously looking at the per game stuff, they are right in the mix. Targeted, the most targeted, DeAndre Hopkins. Whoa, the most targeted receiver, but only 528 catches on almost 900 targets, 58% catch percentage. Calvin Johnson, number 2. So that is pretty crazy. The top 3 receivers targeted are Hopkins, Johnson, and Fitzgerald, who all had, struggling quarterbacks. Maybe that goes to a part of it. But, and again, Johnson and Fitzgerald as well, too. I think we're definitely considering, and I'd say that Hopkins isn't considered. His stats, and I guess we have to remember we're in the 6-year run here as well, too, are pretty equal. But, wait, what was the catch percentage here for some of these guys? Michael Thomas, okay, the slant god. Michael Thomas had the highest catch percentage. You can definitely see that. I guess, again, we're just first 6 years. So, wait, maybe we filter this back real quick to the career, because I think we proved our point in looking at the Jefferson and Chase careers in relation to the other guys. And I don't know if we really have a running back like in that spot right now as well, too. We have a lot of great running backs, but like Derrick Henry, you can actually compare his career numbers to all-time running backs at this point. Like, not say that his career is over, but, and I say this respectfully because his career has been so great. I guess I'm not going to say his career could be over, but I'm just saying if his career, if the aliens abducted everybody, then he would still be one of the great running backs of all time. He still had a ton of great numbers. But wait a second, we were going catch percentage real quick. Is Michael Thomas still number 1? Yeah, he is number 2. McCaffrey number 1, the running back. Check down stuff makes sense. Michael Thomas, Kittle, Amon-Ra, Heath Miller getting a bunch of easy looks there every year. Kelsey as well too. Witten, Cole Beasley, the number 8 most reliable receiver in the last 25 years. Cooper Kupp, Wes Welker. What is this run of guys, chat? Hey, yo. Heath Miller, Travis Kelsey, Jason Witten, Cole Beasley, Cooper Kupp, and Wes Welker is not a list of guys I was expecting to see in a row there in a receiving list. You got Thielen at 13, McCaffrey at 1, Kittle at 3. What is going on, chat? This is a little confusing. Mark Andrews, number 17 as well. Randall Cobb, 69. Shout out. Amendola, Baldwin, Doug Baldwin as well too. One of the great consistent receivers. So we're just naming guys at this point. Most first downs last 25 years. Fitzgerald, Wayne, Johnson, Bolden, Hopkins, Mike Evans, Steve Smith Sr. I do really want to consider Steve Smith Sr. for this team, to be honest. Maybe, let's go one more stat check. We could do a whole episode just breaking down receivers, I guess, and looking at it. But I think we dived into this first, and because this was the most competitive group, at least offensively as well. Because like we said, quarterback is basically set. Running back, I guess we did discuss that, and it kind of has to be Tomlin, though we could look at the stats a little bit more specifically here as well too. But playoff check real quick for receivers will show that, let's see, Fitzgerald. Oh, nobody apparently had 5,000 yards in their career for receivers. I don't know if that's true. I guess we'll double check here. But either way, not the right way to sort the stats out. Brady. Well, we probably need a certain amount of receiving yards to ask him what we're searching for. So let's go 500 receiving yards. Ooh, that might be the number, chat. That might be the number. And then see what happened. I don't know, maybe like 2,000-3,000 receiving yards would be the tops here. But I would assume somebody would be kind of close to 5K. Oh, it is Kelsey at 2,000 yards. The only 2,000-yard receiver. I guess some of these dynasty teams have maybe warped our mind of like how many playoff games you would be playing. Because even if you make the playoffs every year for 12 years, if you well, I guess at that point, if you lose in the first round, 12 playoff games is still a lot. But if you make the playoffs 8 times in, 16 years, or I guess, you get the math. If you lose earlier in the playoffs, you're going to play less games. It is what it is. But Kelsey and Edelman and Gronk, Reggie Wayne for the Colts, Tyreek Hill for the Chiefs, Hines Ward for the Steelers. Yep, Anquan Bolden as well, too, for the Ravens there, and for, I guess, played for quite a few teams, of course, but playoff success in both Arizona and Baltimore early on in his career. And then Steve Smith Sr. So your 1,000-yard receivers for the last 25 years in the playoffs are, and I guess if we're staying specific to receivers, Edelman number 1, Reggie Wayne 2, Tyreek Hill, Hines Ward, Anquan Bolden, and Steve Smith. And then Julio Jones, Deion Branch, Larry Fitzgerald. So I think it's been made pretty clear that we're gonna be biasly putting Larry Fitzgerald on this list. Are we leaving Calvin Johnson off? And then if we're just we're putting Randy Moss on, we're biased as well too. So maybe we just keep Johnson on. Pause. But Steve Smith as I guess Steve Smith can't be the third receiver in the lineup at if we only can have 3. But he's definitely our bench guy. Can we make him like our kick returner? Maybe we make Tyreek Hill the kick returner. Ooh, and then we just have him on the roster. I guess if we have to have a kick returner, though, it has to be Devin Hester. It has to be Devin Hester. Devin Hester has to be the defined kick returner for the team. So as dynamic as Tyreek Hill would be there, Devin Hester was. Did he take a team to a Super Bowl as a kick returner? I still don't really know how that worked out, but he had that return in the Super Bowl, and definitely continue to immortalize his abilities at that as well too. But Steve Smith might be the first honorable mention. And, we haven't even mentioned our guy Dallas Clark here as well, too. 847 receiving yards. Stephon Diggs, somehow 909 receiving yards in 14 playoff games. I guess the Bills have had a lot of playoff games. And, some playoff games with the Vikings there as well, too. Antonio Brown, 918. I guess with Drake May in the Patriots this year, Diggs has a chance to get into that 1,000-yard club for the playoffs. If they are able to win a couple of games, I guess they could also get the first round bye and lose in their first playoff game, and then all of a sudden, Stephon Diggs has like 60 yards in that game and doesn't quite get there this year. But yeah, he could potentially, again, Steve Smith at 101, he is, I guess, less than 100 yards behind Steve Smith. I don't know if if it's one game, if he could get up to Bolden, and definitely not Hines Ward, but he could maybe get to Hines Ward if they made a run this year, and then he's a top 5 playoff receiver if he's a major part of that. So I don't know if that would include him in the 25 for 25 team, but it would definitely, up his name value there. And I guess we wouldn't have necessarily considered like Diggs a major playoff receiver, but if you've got like a fun run here, and then also that great Vikings moment of him having that catch at the end of the game, it would make a lot of sense, that kind of playoff pedigree. But yeah, I think it might be the names that we mentioned at first. Calvin Johnson, Larry Fitzgerald. But I guess if we have Tyreek Hill and Steve Smith both off the bench, then that's probably, we're being heightist at that point maybe. So we have to have Randy Moss, Larry Fitzgerald, Tyreek Hill as our starting receivers, and then Calvin Johnson and Steve Smith off the bench. If I can have, we're giving ourselves 2 bench spots, so if we can have as many bench spots as we want, then yes, I'm going to feel good about our roster. Pause. But if we can have those 5 guys, I'd feel good about the other 5 guys. I guess you could have, if you have Antonio Brown and Julio Jones, and I don't know who else at that point. I guess we kind of took everybody, but Deion Branch in the mix as well too, and 184 playoff receiving yards. Some other great names left on the board, but yeah, that would have to be. Do we put Steve Smith on over Tyreek Hill? What was Steve Smith's 40 time? Hey, yo, not to say that he would be faster than Tyreek Hill, but if it's close, and again, Moss is going to give us enough. Moss is secretly going to be that, not secretly, but I think he could be pretty, at the peak of his powers, almost equally as fast as Tyreek Hill. Let's see here. Randy Moss, 40-yard dash time. Randy Moss's 40 time is 2.5 according to Google AI. It's 2.5 seconds. Or 2.5. 4.25. I guess the the 0.25, assuming we're operating in the 4-second range, AO, for a 40-yard dash. But we've got Randy Moss at 4.25, and I know that the 40 time maybe is not going to be a, totally accurate calculation for Tyreek Hill. I don't even know if we have like an actual registered one. Okay, and AI says that Usain Bolt would run a 3.91 40. If AI is right there, that would be crazy. It's got Tyreek Hill at a 4.29. So Google is saying that Randy Moss's 40 time is faster than Tyreek Hill. Lock it in. Randy Moss, Larry Fitzgerald, Steve Smith Sr. That's our team, chat. That's our team. We're obviously, leaving guys on the board. It is what it is. But that's a team of alpha playoff dogs right there that get us through the regular season, get us into the playoffs, and our receiving core alone could take us to the Super Bowl. I mean, did we mention the fact that Tom Brady's our all-time quarterback? Give us Mike Vick. Mike Vick with Steve Smith Sr., Larry Fitzgerald, and who's the other guy? We had Randy Moss. They're beating any team that Tom Brady throws out there, chat, and I stand by it. I stand by it. I don't know if, we'll have to, I guess, play the game, sim the AI to see. Maybe we have to do a draft or something. We'll have to cook up an opposing team to ourselves. I don't know if we can be that unbiased. I'm not sure. But do we take a quick break and then figure out the all-time defense or in the all-time offensive line for the 25 for 25 team? I mean, Jeff Saturday's the center, so we can lock that in. And to be honest, again, if we're being biased, Trent Williams is the left tackle. So you only need to, stay tuned. We only got 3 more to go and a defense right after this. All right, we are back, and it's official. Let's actually log this 25 for 25 historic NFL team here. We can actually lock it in on paper. We already, and I guess I should have mentioned as well too. I guess I don't know how much it'll change the conversation we just had. Hey, yo, stay tuned. Hopefully, it just go. Okay, I've heard enough. But we did have a bias spin on it already. But I guess we're gonna commit and unashamedly put a bias spin on it. I mean, we still want the team to obviously be good, because I think we will sim this roster against another 25 for 25 team. I don't know who should we pick? Should we just start just going through the entire internet of 25 for 25 teams and logging the rosters? Maybe the Reddit team. I don't know. Like let the people speak and see what happens. Or are they just responding to the ESPN one? Oh, maybe did ESPN have Priest Holmes on their all 25 team? They had Priest Holmes, McCaffrey, and Derrick Henry. Wait, is this true? What is this? Quarter century team, best 53-man rosters. Okay, I pulled this up on the side to look at it. Of course, Brady, Peyton, Mahomes. So I'm not saying they're taking. Maybe we just say they take all these guys off the board. I don't know. But they've got Priest Holmes, Christian McCaffrey, and Derrick Henry. So somehow they do leave LaDainian Thomas and Peterson. And I guess those were the two guys that we were mainly debating. Here, I guess as we're saying this, let's pull up the rushing stats to quickly double check. We did, say that Peterson, or I guess Tomlinson would probably take the edge over Peterson. And as I was sitting here thinking about, okay, yeah, bias spin on it, like I would probably, as much as we do have those painful playoff memories associated with LaDainian Tomlinson's career, at the end of the day, in the moment of truth, we would have to put our differences aside and admit the football talent and just have him be the running back. So, and I would say that there would, and with all due respect to McCaffrey, Henry, and Priest Holmes was, again, the one guy we considered. He had 27 touchdowns in a season rushing. So I guess unfortunately, so it's official. They've taken ESPN took Priest Holmes off the board, and I guess we're going to compete against ESPN to see. Unfortunately, the sim is going to say that they have Tom Brady, and we're probably going to lose. It is what it is. I don't know what quarterback we take. I do know what quarterback we take. So the roster we built is going to have to be pretty crazy. But here, actually, let's submit these rushing stats and see what we get. Was this playoffs? Oh, that was playoffs. Let's go regular season and see Patrick Mahomes, the #1 playoff rusher of all time. That is interesting because in a way you could, the Chiefs, of course, haven't had a run game like we were looking at earlier, but his scrambling, of course, the last couple of years has that masked even some of the passing game stuff that has happened. I don't know, but Brady, 1,000 rush yards for his career. Shout out Frank Gore, the actual leader in rush yards since 2000. There are guys back. Franklin Gore, 1,600 yards exactly. Whoa, a round number. You love to see it. We might actually have to vote for him. Steven Jackson, #5. That is another name, chat. We want to just go like our all like cool guy name team. Maybe we're biased. Did we put Steven Jackson on the team or our guy Edgerrin James as well too? If we're going to take a Colts player, imagine the Colts player that left before we won the Super Bowl. I don't know if we feel bad about that, but he might be the guy. He might be the guy we actually take if we're being biased. Oh, Chris Johnson. If we're taking seasons, the season where Chris Johnson ran for a 2,000 yard. I mean, the speed of a team if we had Chris Johnson, Tyreek Hill, and Randy Moss. But like we said, we might have left Tyreek Hill on the board. Let's see who the ESPN receivers were. And they have Randy Moss. They have Randy Moss, Calvin Johnson, Julio Jones, Terrell Owens, Marvin Harrison, Justin Jefferson. Whoa, they get everybody. So wait, they got how many? 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They get 6 receivers. Does that mean we get 6? But they get Randy Moss, Calvin Johnson, Julio Jones, Terrell Owens, Marvin Harrison, and Justin Jefferson. So this is definitely, hot take stuff. You love it because, again, it saves some guys on the table for us. But, okay, so that saves. We actually got to start documenting here. We've got Larry Fitzgerald, of course, I guess is now our first overall pick. But Steve Smith as well, too, also on the list. And wait, did they have Tyreek Hill? I forget. They have Tyreek Hill and Randy Moss. That is tough. Okay, so we do get Tyreek Hill. Let's go. Again, we don't have the size, of this lineup. It is what it is. But the speed of this lineup and this team, I said earlier, I know who our quarterback is. I don't know if we saved the big reveal for last. I think if you check the tapes, you might know. But We will, I guess, and they did say they have Mahomes, Brady, and Manning, so it's going to be difficult. But if we commit to the speed thing, this could be a devastating roster. I could see this really, really being a difficult one. I guess we'll see what the defense is for this all-time team as well too. But this is going to be a real to scheme up against as well. So if we get 3 more receivers, as well, they have Antonio Brown and Andre Johnson on their practice squad. They don't also get 2 players on their practice squad. Hey, it is what it is. Who else did we have in the mix now as well too? I guess we could take Jamar Chase as well if we were going the per game status. The young guy, they have Jefferson to hold that, to have that spot. But Moss and Johnson were our other 2 guys. So wait, again, we have to start writing down. They didn't have Tomlinson. That's right. They didn't have Tomlinson. So we know we have Tomlinson and Peterson as our running backs. The 2 and 3 rushing. They literally don't have the top 3 rushing leaders as their best running back for the century. But Derrick Henry is 4th right now. 4 rushing yards for the century. He would need 4,000 more yards, or I guess, maybe closer to 3,000 more yards to pass Frank Gore. So he might get there. Derrick Henry might be the leading rusher of the century by the time his career is over. I definitely would not be surprised if that's where we're, headed at this point. Again, we're 3,000 yards away, and now I'm admitting that I wouldn't be surprised. But it's not, again, impossible to see the season that he just had, literally the game that he just had, to say that he doesn't have that kind of runway left for his career. But if he's off the list, maybe we got to imagine Frank Gore being left off of 2 all-time lists because, shout out, he was just a consistent running back for the entire time of his career. And he's almost Derrick Henry 5 yards a carry. So, that's got to be number 1 as well, too. Well, I guess Tyreek Hill, number 1. Chat. Let's see. We've got a lot of quarterbacks in the mix. Deebo Samuel as well, too. So, I don't know if we have to go back and actually just sort by the running backs. Again, the quarterback stuff, I guess some of the running back offensive or wide receiver offensive creativity, I guess, per yards per carry would be a little bit different than like yards per reception per se. But no, wait a second. What just happened? 5,000. Oh, we sorted by rush yards and we were looking at receiving stats here. Okay, wait a second. I was still thinking about who we need to have to replace our two receivers. But if we go back to the actual running backs, shout out to Josh Cribbs, who could also be our punt returner. If they took Devin Hester as their punt returner, we're taking Josh Cribbs. They don't need 2 kick returners on the ESPN all-time team. Devin Achane, the leader all-time per carry for this century, 5.7 yards a carry. Jamal Charles, Jahmyr Gibbs, J.K. Dobbins, James Cook, Nick Chubb, Raheem Mostert, Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry at 4.9. So Derrick Henry and Jamal Charles as the 2 guys, and Nick Chubb as the 2 guys that were not, 2020 plus draft picks. I guess Mostert as well too, but much more limited in the carries for him. You got Sproles at 11th all time this century. Tiki Barber, definitely a name that we could mention. Mike Allstott. Where's Mike Allstott on here? D'Angelo Williams. Oh, D'Angelo Williams would definitely be fun as well. And I mean, I guess Saquon just, helped take his team to the Super Bowl last year. So he definitely has to be considered. But I think we have to have Tomlinson, and I think we have to go Chris Johnson as well, too, just to have the speed effect, just to help, boost that and commit to that with the lineup. And then do we just go Marshawn Lynch to just have a, pause a hammer to be able to have a goal line situation or something like that? Because then we have pretty good 2-way threat between Tomlinson and Chris Johnson. I don't know if we necessarily need like a utility running back, if we need to grab, again, like Jamal Charles or, Matt Forte or a guy like that. But I think Lynch might be the fun move. Again, otherwise I'm just going to be biased and take Edgerrin James. I honestly just might do. I think we might just be biased and take Edgerrin James because I don't know if we're going to take, any Colts receivers. Again, no disrespect to Reggie. We might end up getting Reggie Wayne, though. We might end up getting Reggie Wayne. I guess no disrespect to Marvin Harrison as well, too. But I don't know. Maybe we end up with Wayne as one of our 6 receivers. that we get to match up against this ESPN team. So we're going to go LT with respect to the LT on defense as well too. But for 21st century, the 21st century LT anyways, LaDainian Tomlinson, that we got a great nickname running back crew, LT CJ 2K, and then Edgerrin James. Here, let's see. I guess we don't have the spelling memorized, but we've got it locked in now. We will get it right. So we've got James, CJ 2K, and LaDainian Tomlinson versus Priest Holmes, Derrick Henry, and Christian McCaffrey. Is definitely going to be a close matchup. Okay, 3 more receivers. Maybe we just, like we said, put Reggie Wayne's name down as well too, and be biased there. And maybe the Colts quarterback, or the quarterback we were referring to earlier, was Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck's going to be our secret weapon on this all-time franchise team. Oh, we didn't mean to spoil it there, chat. Our secret weapon, it's pre-draft process Anthony Richardson. It's Anthony Richardson at the combine with these receivers is actually going to be our lineup. OTO, or we could have Ocho Cinco as well too. They took Julio Jones. Hopkins is on the board. Hines Ward is on the board. Deshaun Jackson, if we just commit to having the fastest lineup possible. I don't know if Wayne would... We might just go back and double check Wayne's 40 time. It might be a little underrated. Bolden, maybe not necessarily in that as well too. And Hopkins as well. So, again, not to say that we're now just assembling the all, the all speed team for the 21st century. But if that was at least a starting point as well. So maybe we do take Harrison as well and just, not overthink it. But Wayne, he was third. 82 touchdowns. Where does that fall? A little bit lower. I guess Harrison's more touchdowns, but, Wayne more yards. And, did have crossover there where he wasn't necessarily playing with Marvin Harrison at the end of his career in some of those Andrew Luck years. Maybe a slight more focal point than Harrison was. But, I don't know. There was some Harrison playoff stuff as well, too, that was a little bit interesting. So, hey, screw it. Let's just be biased and take our guy Reggie Wayne. Why not, chat? Why not? Look out for Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis on the defensive team. The biased place that we would be on the defensive team would be Bob Sanders for safety. So maybe not to spoil something, but hey, if we can just get like 2007 Bob Sanders on this roster, that could be pretty crazy. Or whatever playoff run we had when, I guess, the year we won the Super Bowl against the Bears. What the Super Bowl was 2007. It's like 2007 playoffs. Bob Sanders would be pretty insane. So they had Andre Johnson on their practice squad. I think we've got to take Andre Johnson as well too. And then do we just take Antonio Brown if we're trying to win? Oh wait, we said they didn't have Tyreek Hill, right? So they did get Moss as their speed guy. So we get Tyreek Hill. Yeah, okay, there we go. We've got Tyreek Hill. Oh yeah, okay, we already got him listed. Shout out. We're locked in, chat. We're already our roster is consistent with what we're thinking. That is good. We can afford Terrell Owens on this team. Do we need to look up Shannon Sharp's stats in the 2000s? And maybe he could be our third tight end. We could just have both nightcap hosts on the team as well too. That'd be fun for the post careers. I guess the post game pod afterwards recap show. Our show would be better. We would have the nightcap crew in the mix. So we get Ryan Clark as well too as our safety. The all podcast team for the 21st century would be a pretty killer team as well. I guess Brady doesn't count as a podcaster, but the all media team, if we say that, because then you get Brady, of course. So Brady, Shannon Sharp, Chad Johnson, Ocho would be. I mean that would be a insane offense. Get Aaron Donald doing a couple interviews, and then you're set. I mean, Lawrence Taylor is great. Michael Irvin. Hey, we're mixing into the 90s just for media in general. Michael Irvin, Shannon Sharp, Tom Brady. Hey, do we get Michael Irvin on this team? Can we just make an exception? Does Michael Irvin with some special powers, can he still play on this 21st century team? He definitely thinks he can. So maybe we could, if we have 5 other receivers, I'm sure we could afford it. But yeah, we got to go Andre Johnson, and then maybe we just take Ocho, like we were saying, for the fun of it. Because I think our team, our receiving core is not going to be bad with Tyreek Hill, Steve Smith, and Andre Johnson and Reggie Wayne. Because again, we have some sneaky playoff carrying ability as well too. I know maybe Andre Johnson didn't get quite the playoff reps. So wait, we'll double check that one more time. Santana Moss, is Plexico Burress gonna be surprisingly high? Our guy AJ Brown, if we're being biased. No, Hill, Wayne, Hines, Ward, Bolden. We just take Bolden. Definitely for the consistency, would be a great 6 option. But I think the energy that Ocho would bring to the team, I think would be great. So we got to have him as our 6th receiver. So yeah, our receiving core is stacked for sure. Our offense is definitely shaping up pretty nicely at this point. We do have, like we said, a couple of offensive linemen in mind if they're not already taken. Oh, Trent Williams is taken. It is what it is. The offensive line, we may just have to not count that. I don't know. Even though Jason Kelsey is the center, shout out, makes a lot of sense. If we can't get Trent Williams as our left tackle, it's honestly not worth it. It's honestly not even worth having an offensive line if we can't have Trent Williams in the last 25 years. So I guess we'll have to see who else has played left tackle. Oh, and they have Joe Thomas. How do you get 2 left tackles? Do they have 2 right tackles as well? 2 right guards and 2 right. Yeah, they don't get 2 left tackles. So they get Joe Thomas, we get Trent Williams, and they get Lane Johnson, and we get Willie Anderson. Boom, perfect. We'll take that pause. And yeah, we'll get Jeff Saturday as our all-time center, and then Jason Kelsey as their center for the ESPN team. So wait a second, let's update. It may be boring foundational football, and ayo, shout out to all the offensive linemen, not boring through NFL history, but it is necessary for us protecting this team pause and for us winning this all-time game. If we have Trent Williams, now I do feel confident in our quarterback pick, and our run game is going to be crazy as well too. I mean, he's going to be a great weapon in our offense. Do we get Shanahan as our offensive coordinator? Maybe we get to build that team that we're talking about. They get Belichick, we get Reed, Shanahan, and I guess then we'll actually probably need Wade Phillips as our defensive coordinator at that point. But yeah, Willie Anderson was our other tackle. I guess if we're just copying this as well too, I don't know if there's another tackle. Is there another tackle that I'm missing that I'm not thinking of? I don't know if we go Pro Bowls here. Let's see. That might be all pros, most all pros. There might be Orlando Jones. Is there another name that we're not thinking of for these positions? Pause. I guess we'll just go ahead and look at all the offensive linemen in general and take care of that pause at one time here. Most all pros for their careers for the last 25 years. We'll see what we get here. And if there's some guy that carried over from the 90s as well too, Hutch, Willie Anderson had half a fantasy point per game for his career, so he was definitely bought out. Jason Kelsey the most. Shout out Zach Martin. Alan Finessa. Finessa was definitely on their list here, was a guard. Was he a left guard contender? So yeah, we get Steve Hutchinson, I guess. And then, Jahari Evans. Not Jabari Evans, shout out. Jahari Evans. Definitely a stud for the Saints for a long time. And yeah, Walter Jones in consideration as well too. Oh, our guy Quentin Nelson. Oh, chat, there's definitely going to be a whiff of bias in this offense. It is what it is. Saturday and Quentin Nelson on the offensive line. Shout out. But wait a second. Was Saturday actually the next center, though, that should have been listed? Oh, Nick Mangold. Oh, chat, rest in peace. Of course, got the terrible news a couple weeks ago, right before NFL games. And, not that was the, obviously the terrible part. But, maybe he is the name. Yeah, I think rest in peace. Nick Mangold has to be our center for this team. And, with all due respect to Jeff Saturday, maybe Jeff Saturday can be our head coach for the last 8 games of the season. But if we're actually, lining the team up on the field, I think Mangold is the man in this situation. Then Trent Williams and Anderson, I got our tackles locked down. And Quentin Nelson is our stud defense or offensive tackle. That is our favorite player. And we can't even spell his name. It is what it is. But, and he's also not a center. So let's go back to guard here. But if we're also going wine bottle peak seasons, the best version of Quentin Nelson is literally as good as any of these guards. It is what it is. Quinton, chat. Shout out to our guy, Quinton Nelson. I don't know if he'll get upset if we say his name wrong or not. Hey, yo. I don't know if we're, tread lightly. But our offensive line is almost set. And Hutchinson. Steve Hutchinson was our last pick. Shout out to Trent Williams hanging out in this offensive line. But it's a stud offensive line. And Will Anderson as well, too. Shout out. So we're good. We got a good, diverse list of offensive linemen here. We need our tight ends as well, too. I guess we said we were going to assemble our defense. But we did say that, I guess they're going to have Aaron Donald, though, on the defensive line, aren't they? Hey, yo. That could get difficult. Let's see. Wait, edge rushers, DeMarcus Ware, Jared Allen, Myles Garrett, and Julius Peppers? Oh, chat, we're screwed. Oh, no, that's not good. Aaron Donald, Calais Campbell, Chris Jones, Vince Wilfork as a nose tackle. And then they just have a spot on here called versatile defensive lineman, J.J. Watt. I don't even know if this team can count for this amount of offensive linemen. I don't know. So maybe we get J.J. Watt as an edge rusher. If they get Aaron Donald and Chris Jones and Myles Garrett and Julius Peppers as well, too, we are in a tough spot. So pause. We might need both of the Watt brothers, honestly, at this point. And Strahan as well, too. Not to abandon our tight end spot. Wait a second. Who'd they have at tight end real quick? This may be another biased one. Are we going Dallas Clark? If they've got Gonzalez and Kelsey and Gronk. How do you get 3 tight ends on this team? Gronk, Kelsey, and Gonzalez. Okay, so we're going to get Antonio Gates, Vernon Davis, and Dallas Clark. Our team might be taking a little bit of a step back at this point. It is what it is. Tight end may be the spot where maybe the roster is in the ESPN's advantage at this point. But we'll double check and see. Kyle Pitts? Can we take Kyle Pitts and just project out a couple of seasons? I don't know. Trey McBride just set the record today for the most receptions by a tight end in a season. So again, if we're betting on the talent going forward, I don't know. But we get Witten. Do we get Jason Witten on this team? I think we do. And we also get Jimmy Graham maybe as well. Greg Olsen, Zach Ertz, Vernon Davis. I think Vernon Davis had some crazy playoff moments on that Niners team. So we might end up going Vernon Davis, Antonio Gates, Vernon Davis, and Jason Witten is our lineup. Because, they have Kelsey, Gronk, that's Jimmy Graham. Number 6, though, still in, I guess, fantasy points here. If we go yards, maybe a little different. Number 8 in yards. So we'd be leaving Greg Olsen out. But Vernon Davis, 7,063 touchdowns. Where does that put him? 7th in touchdowns. So Gates, number 1, 116 to Gonzalez's 96. Hey, kind of cooked him in touchdowns, honestly. I guess, did have a couple of years at the end where their careers, I guess, did end up being a similar amount. 30 more games played, though, for Gonzalez is not nothing. And then, I guess like we're saying, we're leaving Graham off this case. So we've got I'm feeling better about that. I think our tight end core is just as good. There is some underrated blocking ability, of course, with Gronk, but I think between Gates and Vernon Davis, we are going to get some of that back as well too. And I don't know, Dallas Clark was like the best blocker in his career. But, I guess, wait a second. Who was the other guy that we were having? Oh, Witten. We've got Jason Witten instead of Dallas Clark. So, hey, shout out. I don't know if we're going to start calling Jason Witten Dallas Clark when we're walking around the team. But that will be our third tight end. Defensive line. Okay, here we go. So that's basically our offense. Like we said, we know who our quarterback's going to be, but we'll officially submit that a little bit later. We just need to have the defense shape up here and see what this team is going to look like. So it's going to be difficult. Like we said, a lot of the edge rushers that are great are off of the board already, but I think there is some value to still find. Like we said, we still have both of the Watt brothers on the table as well. Micah Parsons, again, if we're just having to bet newer and not necessarily on the career overall numbers. And our guys from the Colts, like we mentioned earlier, Freeney and Mathis, definitely have to be considered. Freeney and I guess both of them are going to be amongst the highest sack totals for this time as well too. Mike Vrabel, the most defensive fantasy points in the 21st century, I guess, is kind of crazy. Oh, Warren Sapp. We can get Warren Sapp. Okay, chat. We may be fine. We may actually be okay. Let's see what happens if we sort this out here. Von Miller. Uh-oh. I don't know if they have Von Miller listed at linebacker or not. But if we can get Von Miller, we've got Super Bowl pedigree in the mix, of course, with him being the captain of that, I guess, not necessarily the no-fly zone. Yeah, they've got DeMarcus Ware on the team. And, career for career, it's pretty close. But let's see. Let's go linebacker here and see what they got. Oh, they're going to Ray Lewis, Bobby Wagner, Urlacher, Levante David, Luke Kuechly, Derek Brooks. So, yeah, they went with all the interior linebackers. That, I guess, again, we're going to say it's going to be difficult, but I'm sure there will be names. So, yeah, lock it in. Warren Sapp has to be our first defensive lineman. Again, this guy was the anchor of the defense for the Tampa Bay team that won the Super Bowl. So, wait, I guess, where was he at in the sack total number? A little bit lower, again, because we got nose tackle, defensive interior is going to have a different kind of numbers production there. But, yeah, we've got Warren Sapp. Lock him in. Von Miller, also captain of a defensive team as well. And we said we get J.J. Watt. So wait, how many guys did they get on their team? 3 defensive tackles and 4 edge rushers. So 10 defensive linemen. Hey, we're going to have 20 defensive linemen in this matchup. We need, I guess, rosters to compete. Both of these teams need depth. It is what it is. So wait, let's go all pros here and see what we've got, because that's going to be a good way to remember the tackles as well too. Kind of like the offensive linemen, the stats might not necessarily correlate in the same way for the sack numbers and stuff, but yeah, Donald they have. So we're going to get a Williams brother, Kevin Williams. Shout out. Hey, the secondary, if they get Brian Dawkins, my heart's going to be broken. We may have to redo the rules for the team. So yeah, we're going to end up with J.J. Watt and probably T.J. Watt as well too. Warren Sapp, like we said, they also have Jared Allen. So yeah, wait, we go J.J. Watt here. Kevin Williams as well too is our 4th. Von Miller is our 5th option. And then Freeney is probably Freeney. Oh, Richard Seymour. Oh, we definitely have to take Richard Seymour. Talk about names that are underrated. Literally the best defensive player on that Patriots team. We talk about, the defense carried Tom Brady early on. Well, who was the best defensive player of the team? Does that make him the best defensive the best player on the Super Bowl teams? You could argue that Richard Seymour was the best player on the Super Bowl team. So lock that in. It absolutely has to be Richard Seymour. That might be the biggest steal of this draft. Okay, we are cooking, chat. If the GPT tells us we lose, then it's wrong, because Richard Seymour has 3 Super Bowls. So Richard Seymour is on our defensive line. Yeah, chat, we're locked back in. I wish we could see this game in real life now. Hey, this is crazy. He's just one of the most underrated defensive players in league history. Richard Seymour, I'd rather have this lineup. Hey, I'd rather actually have Aaron Donald here as the first or the 3rd option as well. But if his companions were Seymour and Warren Sapp, That would be perfect. But we've also got Von Miller as well too. I don't know. There's playoff success here. There is a ton of playoff success. Jason Taylor is a name that we could take. James Harrison as well. Ooh, that would really increase the terrifying factor of this team in a good way. He'd get everybody motivated in the weight room as well too, keeping everybody locked in. Strahan, again, in terms of the single season achievements, literally the best season that we've seen defensive linemen have up until, I guess if Myles Garrett gets a sack next week, was not able to get one against Aaron Rodgers today. Aaron Rodgers, I guess, making sure that didn't happen. But here, let's go playoff guys and see as well too, because we're gonna have to get a little tricky again if we're competing directly against this ESPN team to try to find ways to snake guys on this roster. So I like where we've gone already. Nick Bosa, Dwight Freeney, James Harrison, Clay Matthews. Oh, Suggs. Ooh, Terrell Suggs might be the sleeper as well. Wait, let's go back to the regular season here and double check where he fell all time, because I'm pretty sure, if not really close, he's got to be a career 100 sack guy club member. I'm not sure. Have we even updated the games recently? Giants are up 33-10. Bills are down 13-0, but they're driving right now. You can hear the crowd getting more excited. Brady starting to get a little locked in. Oh, 3rd and 6? 3rd and 6 for the Eagles. We got the red zone, I guess, catching us up on plays. We've got the red zone feed and the live feed going, so confusing ourselves. It is what it is. But to find Suggs' career sack number. Oh, he was second. That's why we weren't seeing his name. We were scrolling down the list. We have to find one of the other guys. John Abraham, 133 career sacks from 2000 to 2014. I mean, he definitely could be considered. We could definitely take John Abraham on this team for sure. We honestly might. That's another super underrated guy. I don't know how many playoff wins and sacks and games that he was in, but I mean, it's clear that the regular season production was up there with all of these guys. So yes, shout out our starting defensive line. This is pretty crazy because Richard Seymour can be a tackle interior. He can rush from the interior. And I don't know, Von Miller can rush with the hand in the ground. It is what it is. If we got Miller and Suggs as our two main edge rushers, and then Warren Sapp and Richard Seymour as our defensive tackles, let's go. This defensive line is set. So wait, it was going up against, again, Myles Garrett, Aaron Donald, DeMarcus Ware, and Jaron Allen. I think they kind of cooked themselves on the edge if, Peppers, I guess, has to start as well, too. And they do also have Chris Jones, who, make no mistake, won 3 Super Bowls, and Vince Wilfork as well. So wait, we get a nose tackle? Do we get Vita Vea on this team? We get one, I guess, extra big defensive lineman. I don't know what the rules are there. But Jason Taylor, definitely a name to consider as well. Maybe we do go Micah Parsons just to take the swing on the talent and sort of pay respects again for the upcoming names. Oh, we didn't even mention J.J. Watt. I don't know if it's fair to take both Watt brothers. I mean, it definitely is because they're both amazing. But, I guess the nostalgia of us for watching J.J. Watt maybe, in our growing up years is a little bit different than watching T.J. Watt now. Though, of course, you could say that T.J. Watt is the better football player. But I don't know. Those peak J.J. Watt years are pretty crazy. And also, again, a little bit more of an imposing player as well, too. So there is, he increases, again, the get off the bus factor with this defensive line. And if they had 11 off defensive linemen with the versatile defensive line position, and then they had the nose tackle as well, too. So I don't know if we go 11 for 11 with the defensive linemen, but do we just throw John Abraham's name in here to shout him out? Maybe we do here. Let's add him to the roster as well, because also, again, we would be down to being biased for Freeney and Mathis at this point, which would not necessarily be the wrong answer. But if we had to pick one, I mean, they're both right there. Once Myles Garrett gets another sack, they'll both be, I guess right next to each other again. I guess maybe there's some other, non-21st century guys in the all-time list. But in terms of the 21st century, you've got Mathis, a career 123 sacks, and Freeney, a career 125.5. So I don't know, we go back to the playoffs and see what happened there. Mathis, I feel like just played a few more, but I guess played a few more seasons on the Colts. Freeney had a couple seasons elsewhere. 2002 to 17, and Mathis was 03 to 16. So Freeney did have the, the longer career overall. So maybe Mathis, a little, like literally, a tenth of a sack more per season for his career. I don't know if we can say that slightly more dynamic, but the way Freeney mastered that spin move was pretty epic as well too. Though Freeney does have 11 playoff sacks, I guess Mathis didn't clear the 10 threshold, but I assume he might be right there. But if he's at like a career 5 or 6, then that is a determining factor. So I'll look it up on a secondary screen so we don't mess that page up here. But for Robert Mathis career playoff numbers, we've got him at 6.5. Yes, 6.5. He's had half the career sacks of Dwight Freeney. So yeah, it's got to be Freeney. Shout out. It is what it is. And Clay Matthews, definitely a name that we could mention as well. But we've got Freeney and Abraham. So we definitely need another edge guy. Or another, for sure. But we need another interior guy. I think we have enough edge guys at this point between, again, literally this whole list of guys. J.J. Watt's another one that could definitely be moved for rushing, between the guard and the center. And I feel like maybe even Suggs, there would definitely be some defensive formations that we run where Suggs rushes from the interior just to throw the speed and the quickness and stuff out there. And, we haven't necessarily been focused on the 40 times defensively the way that we were on offense, though I think that that's okay. I think it's okay to say that, hey, this unit playing together offensively, is cohesive with the speed, and maybe this unit defensively, is being built in a little bit of a different way. But here, let's go again for, I guess we could say like Dexter Lawrence for newer guys as well could be in consideration for the defensive tackle spot. Quinnen Williams has been up there for the last couple of years. Not mentioning our guy DeForest Buckner is probably pretty disrespectful as well. Cameron Hayward, Fletcher Cox, as Ndamukong Suh. Maybe we just go Suh for the talent. I feel like Suh, he definitely had a great career, but I feel like there's even still a different version of the career that he would have had. If we're taking the football talent guy and it's Micah Parsons or Ndamukong Suh, again, we're taking Micah Parsons earlier in his career. But if I could just have Ndamukong Suh as the 7th, 8th defensive lineman on this team, I might have to do that. So, we'll a little quick copy and paste of the name, and then maybe we'll consider that good for defensive lineman for this team. Let's see if we got it right. Oh, well, it's not going to be the correct format, I guess, but we can copy it over here. Shout out, iconic, but maybe we don't have the spelling memorized. But we're locked in at this point. To be honest, actually, we got it now. It is what it is. Just, it's 2025. How many times are you even spelling things out these days? So, how many times have we had the opportunity to just spell out Ndamukong Suh? But hey, now that it's happened, we are in the know now for spelling it in the future. So there's our defensive line. We've got Suh. Yeah, I guess he's our number 1 overall pick, right? We've got Richard Seymour, Warren Sapp, and Ndamukong Suh as our interior guys, and Von Miller, Terrell Suggs, J.J. Watt, John Abraham, Dwight Freeney, and Ndamukong Suh again as our edge rushers. So wait, our linebackers. So this is where we can focus on some more of the interior guys. And Ray Lewis being off the board is brutal. They also took Luke Kuechly, but I don't know if they took Patrick Willis. Here, let's double check if they took Patrick Willis. They got Bobby Wagner, and they got Levante David as well. Derek Brooks on the practice squad. And they got Urlacher. So yeah, Willis might be our number 1 overall pick, and then Derek Brooks for interior linebackers. So I think tackles is probably the best stat to look up for that. But here, I guess if we just go all pros or Pro Bowls as well too, probably pretty fair. And if we were going the tandem for the Colts and Freeney and Mathis, Willis, and who's the other great linebacker that they had there for Bowman. Navarro Bowman was the other linebacker for San Francisco. Yeah. So you could definitely choose between either one of those guys. Gerard Mayo for a couple seasons. Absolutely. Devondre Campbell out here making all pro. So yeah, Wagner, Lewis, Kuechly, or Wagner, Ray Lewis, Kuechly, all off the table. And so is Urlacher. Oh, Fred Warner. We can get Fred Warner on this team. Yeah, lock it in. So I guess it's going to be all 49ers linebackers. I guess the all linebacker team in NFL history, at least the 21st century. That, I think, is a lock for sure. Navarro Bowman, Fred Warner, and Patrick Willis, all three San Francisco linebackers. James Ferrier, that Steelers defense, of course, and Derek Johnson as well, too. We might have to do a Pro Bowl sort here for the inside linebacker spot. You know, Nick Bolton won 3 Super Bowls in Kansas City. Do we have to give him a shout? Gary Brackett, our Colts inside linebacker from back in the day, if we're being biased there as well. Or Darius Leonard. Hey, yo, one season of a couple seasons of Darius Leonard versus some of these other guys. Demario Davis. Yeah, Demario Davis is another name as well, too, that absolutely has to be brought up. CJ Mosley, underrated, but 5 Pro Bowls. And Zach Thomas getting 6 Pro Bowls in there as well, too. You got Zach Thomas and Jason Taylor, a couple Miami defenders from that era in this conversation for the all-time team. So definitely just some all-time like fun name guys as well, too. Dante Hightower, Shazier, shout out. We could take, Ryan Shazier as well, really elite when he was playing for, as we say, unfortunately, for a couple seasons. London Fletcher, only 3 Pro Bowls, but yeah, 13 years, an absolute stud. So I don't want to be biased toward the 49ers, but if they took all the other guys off the board, then it might have to be those guys. Again, we can definitely go Derek Johnson. I don't know how many guys we get here. Was it 5 inside linebackers? 5. So we get, like we said, Patrick Willis, Fred Warner for sure. Maybe we take London Fletcher to mix it up. Not a 49ers guy. Did he have a 49ers run? No. Buffalo, St. Louis, and Washington. Derek Johnson, we said, would be there as well, too. And then maybe this is the random pick, but we still have Zach Thomas as well that we could consider. Do we revisit the Zach Thomas page and see, was he ever, he is in the Hall of Fame. Shout out. Ever Defensive Player of the Year? Maybe he doesn't have to be. You get, 5 All-Pros? 5 All-Pros, 7 Pro Bowls? Okay, screw it. Zach Thomas, he's going to make a couple of game-changing plays because we underrated him. It is what it is. So we've got him, Patrick Willis, Fred Warner, couple of guys that are some non-49ers as well, too, to help round this out. Here, we'll update real quick. Zach Thomas. We're going to list Fred Warner before Patrick Willis because we're biased. It is what it is. Once you've made the team, I guess it doesn't matter what order they're listed in. Just being on the roster is important. Are we actually putting Navarro Bowman on the roster? Was there a couple other guys that we could have taken as well? Oh, wait a second. We had Derek Johnson as our 4th option here. And then number 5, I guess, would have been in the conversation for whether or not it would have been a Kansas City guy. Let's see. Or Mosley, like we said. Or we said we were going to take London Fletcher. Jonathan Vilma, if we want to be paying our defense to do sketchy things. Oh, we got him, chat. Saints, they got the Colts in the Super Bowl, so we gotta tackle the controversy head on here on the REMINGTOM pod. Pause. Tremaine Edmonds, I guess top 20 linebacker from this century. Hey, Jeremiah Trotter, 4 Pro Bowls from 2000 to 2009. Shout out. But yeah, I think it's gonna be Fletcher as well. Clinton Porter's, a couple of fun Washington guys. I mean, every team's gonna have their fun players from this era. But yeah, Fletcher's gonna be a beast in terms of tackles. Like, he's gonna be flying around out there. He might end up getting more minutes than some of these linebackers. I don't know. Like, him versus Fred Warner is definitely gonna be a tough battle. But now our defensive backs, this is where it could get really tough. I don't know if they had both corners and safeties. I think they did. So we might have to get a little bit more specific here. Okay, there are 5 corners on ESPN. Darrelle Revis, Champ Bailey, Rodney Barber, Richard Sherman, and Patrick Peterson. Okay, so we don't know if Brian Dawkins is off the table yet. We got to go to safeties. There's no way that we're going to get Brian Dawkins on this team. It is what it is. Okay, so Revis is good. So that means we get Ndamukong Asamoah. We actually learned how to say his name the other day as well, too. We looked it up. And now we're resorting back to old habits. Wait, let's double check it here and see what we have got. If we can remember how to spell his name as well, too. Oh, that's right. Capital N, lowercase n is how you spell it. Shout out. We've got, Nnamdi, that's what it was. Nnamdi Asamoah. So 3 Pro Bowls, 2 All-Pros might be in consideration. We were just talking about him a couple weeks ago. So he might be on the team. Did we get Charles Woodson? Wait, was Woodson? Oh, Woodson wasn't in the mix for the ESPN team. Okay, so we're going to get Woodson. We're going to get Nnamdi. We're going to get Jalen Ramsey? You know, I guess a modern name. Because, again, Revis off the board. Champ Bailey off the board. There's another couple other, like Asante Samuel maybe could be another option that I'm thinking of. There's definitely some corner names that are not being brought to mind at the moment. Okay, Peterson is up there, though, for, I guess, hey, fantasy points. We'll go Pro Bowls here and see. Bailey at 12. Yeah, Peterson at 8 Pro Bowls. Wait, was he was already off the board? Let me see. Oh, yeah, they took Patrick Peterson. Okay, so they've got Bailey, Peterson, Darrelle Revis, and who was the 5th guy? Richard Sherman was the 5th guy. Oh, and Rodney Barber? Wait, so is that... Are we at... Do we get Champ? Wait, so they got 1, 2, 3... Oh, there we go. That is 5. Okay, shout out. So we're going to get Woodson, Darius Slay. 6 Pro Bowls for Darius Slay. I don't know. I mean, maybe the best Darius Slay seasons, are up there. But Cromartie, like for a game, Cromartie would be insane. Talib as well, too. Yeah, it might be Talib. I guess Devon Witherspoon has already made the same amount of Pro Bowls as Nnamdi Asamoah. So I don't know if we're going to take Devon Witherspoon over Nnamdi Asamoah. But maybe I think he's had some better 1v1 matchups against some different receivers that might be a little bit more impressive. So we've got, I guess Woodson and Asamoah here as we try to recall our football card collection from back in the day. Here, I think we can spell it out. Okay. We can always, of course, double check too and see. I guess maybe the last name we'll need some help with and double check. Shout out. We're still learning. We're still trying to be better. I guess, we're not claiming to know how to spell everybody's name and then, not delivering. So I guess is that our talent here on the Rim and Sam Pod? We can spell everybody's name. Of course it is not, but I'm feeling good. A pause about the corner crew so far. So yeah, Barber is also off of the table as well. And I scrolled through and saw the first safety was Ed Reed. So tough to see, but also not Brian Dawkins quite yet. So yeah, Woodson off the board. Asamoah off the board. Maybe Witherspoon's one of our 5 corners, though. Ends up being. I mean, if we're, again, betting on the young talent, though, I think Aqib Talib being a part of that no-fly zone defense for the Broncos definitely makes him a great contender for this team. And also because he's going to potentially be, the 2nd or 3rd corner as well, too. But if it's a big physical corner, or a big physical receiver, Asamoah could definitely take any receiver, pause physically. I'll take every one of us physically. But Talib could definitely, handle an outside mismatch as well, too, if we need it. And then Charles Woodson in the slot, maybe we even move him around to safety every now and then and have him as just a weapon. And then we take Cromartie, or Ty Law, or Asante Samuel as well. So we could take Patriots corners and, I guess 49ers linebackers. Colts pass rushers, 49ers linebackers, Patriots corners. would definitely be a pretty dynamic team for the 21st century. Chiefs running backs, and also, what was the other one that we mentioned? But yeah, Chiefs running backs. See, we could build a team that way as well too. It would be fun. And I mean, we are, kind of a little bit as well. But yeah, definitely Antonio Cromartie, where we're at 3 right now. So this is a fun lineup. There's definitely a little more versatility here, or more, I should say, volatility here with some of the performances from some of our corners than maybe the ESPN team. But game to game, I think, and again, definitely at the peak of the powers, I think game to game, our team is, obviously the potential to be equal to that team as well too. And I do really want to take Ty Law, but maybe we go Asante Samuel, because Ty Law did get traded. I don't know if Asante Samuel ever got traded, but it was a gutsy move. And it was a gutsy move because Ty Law was good. And we're not necessarily saying that, we're getting Ty Law the year he got traded, but it might have to be 2000 to 2008, Asante Samuel 2004 to 2013. And the Philly years were pretty good as well too. We'll just go Ty Law, because I guess they do have Peyton Manning on the other team. So if we have Ty Law, we've immediately neutralized Peyton Manning, and we have Cromartie. So I guess they'll have to play Brady and Mahomes. That's our strategy, chat. Force the other team to play Brady and Mahomes and not Peyton Manning. So our corners, Charles Woodson, Nnamdi Asomugha, Aqib Talib, Antonio Cromartie, and Ty Law. Maybe not the name value of the group that we're going up against, but I definitely am as equally confident for sure. Revis, probably the best corner of the 21st century. But other than that, and, Woodson overall defensively as a player is right there with Revis. Asomugha, versus, like we said, Champ Bailey, Barber versus Talib, Cromartie versus Sherman, Peterson versus Ty Law. Like, those are equal talent matchups. So I'm not feeling worse about our cornerback spots. But to go to safeties, I've seen 2, and neither of them are Brian Dawkins. So they've got Ed Reed, Troy Polamalu, number 3. Oh, it's Brian Dawkins. We may have to redo the rules, chat. We got to get Brian Dawkins. Oh, and they took Earl Thomas as well, too. Oh, they've got Woodson listed as a corner. That's why they didn't have him, or as a safety. That's why they didn't take him in the corner's spot. But, hey, we've got him as our corner. That's where we needed him the most. Pause. So, for our safeties, this is where it could get brutal. We might end up getting first name that appears to mind as well, too. And, again, we'll have to double-check seasons played and stuff like that. But Sean Taylor would actually be, again, just in terms of the football talent of it all, one of the first names that I would think of from that spot on the field. So we might take Sean Taylor as well, too, just for, an honorary, but also a well-deserved when he was playing, was just one of the best safeties in the league as well. So, yeah, Ed Reed off the table, Brian Dawkins off the table. Budda Baker somehow made 8 Pro Bowls. Budda Baker is going to make a decade's worth of Pro Bowls? Is Budda Baker going to make the Hall of Fame? Hey, yo. We didn't see that one happening. Okay, they also got Polamalu, Earl Thomas, and who was the other guy that they had here? That was 4. Number 5 was, maybe they just had the 4. Let's see. Okay, yeah, just the 4. So our number 1 safety for our 21st century team is going to end up being Budda Baker. I don't know about that. We might end up taking Cam Chancellor, the other, of course, Legion of Doom safety. Who was the other corner? Was that Byron Maxwell? The other corner on the Legion of Doom? Shout out. But, I guess those 3 guys were definitely major name value studs there. And John Lynch, I think we have to take John Lynch for sure. And then we said Cam Chancellor as well. Landon Collins. A couple seasons of Landon Collins. Yeah, the safety spot does drop off. So it might be Bob Sanders and Sean Taylor as our other 2 guys. Both of them made Pro Bowls, but again, Bob Sanders literally won Defensive Player of the Year. So we had literally a 2-year run where he was the best safety in the league for 2 years, and they were the only 2 years that he played full seasons. Yeah, 6 games played, 14, 4 games played, 15, then 6, 2, 1, and 2. But made first team All-Pro both years he played a full season and was Defensive Player of the Year in 2007. So that alone might qualify him for the list. And Sean Taylor as well. So if we get him on the right seasons, our football talent for our safety spot is going to be pretty elite. And then we said, yeah, John Lynch, 7 Pro Bowls, the legacy definitely solidified there as well. And after he's done, of course, playing, he can help GM our team and be a good front office presence there as well. We got to double check this Bills-Eagles game because I just heard Josh Allen, the Bills fans going crazy. It is Josh Allen going into the end zone, so it could be 7-13 here, and all of a sudden, a potential fourth quarter comeback for Josh Allen. We should have bet the 35-1, and it probably dipped when it was 13-0. So we should have been backing up our putting our money where our mouth is, ayo, and seeing if we could at least increase the odds for Allen's MVP. Bo Sanders or Bob Sanders? Bob Sanders, our second pick. Ayo. Oh, they blocked the extra point. So a touchdown now to tie. Oh, Philly, of course. That seems like something that would happen. But Sean Taylor is our third safety, and then we needed a fourth. I don't remember if we had a fourth one clicked on there. I think we did. Was it? Oh, Buda Baker was our fourth. Oh, Cam Chancellor was our fourth. Wait a second. Let's consider Bethea. Definitely underrated. Matthew, a part of that Kansas City run, was definitely pretty important there. Kyle Hamilton emerging as a great talent. Jamal Adams got traded for a lot of first-round picks. Eric Weddle playing for Baltimore and then even bouncing over to LA for that Super Bowl team. And then, his run in the Chargers as well, too. But I think Baltimore, but he didn't play much there. But Fitzpatrick, Derwin James, Eric Berry, football talent, Eric Berry, Darren Sharper as well. But yeah, I think in this group, this is if we're just having to try to, recreate Brian Dawkins in one player, Sean Taylor, Bob Sanders, and Cam Chancellor is a good start for that. And then I don't know, how John Lynch definitely fits into the mix there. But this is a stacked safety core as well, too. So I think that this is pretty much the roster. I guess we got special teams to consider. Wait a second. Or Cam Chancellor's name to spell correctly. Cam Chancellor. Shout out. Okay. We are locked in. So we've got to get a kicker, which if it's not Adam Vinatieri, lock it in. It's Adam Vinatieri. And then a kick returner. Oh, they've got Justin Tucker. Okay, so we've got Justin Tucker, and they've got Shane Leckler as their punter. So do we have to go through the punter stats real quick? Okay, they do have Devin Hester as their return specialist. That's okay. That means we get Josh Cribbs. Shout out Belichick as the head coach, Shanahan as the offensive coordinator, and Wade Phillips again as the defensive coordinator. I guess the Broncos defense is enough to, help him get that credit. Dave Taub, special teams coordinator. Yeah, what about Spags for defensive coordinator? So we just take the Chiefs coaching staff? Shout out to Mahomes, of course. But here, let's go. Kicker is, if we can get the roster updated. Shout out to Tucker. He's going to be able to get the advanced stats and, sing the opera on the bus rides home. But Vinatieri's actually going to be able to kick game winners in a Super Bowl. So we've got him. We've got, I guess we could just make this special teams category here. We've got the STs. I don't know if that's what we label it as. But from a football perspective, we'll just call it the STs. The special teams institution, I don't know if that's the correct label for it. But the STUs, well, do we call it the STU? Here we go. The special teams unit, right? That's what it's obviously referred to as. So we've got Adam Vinatieri. We've got Josh Cribbs. Hey, yo, shout out MTV Cribbs and the NFL player as well, too. Our punter, I guess this is the part we have to figure out because Josh Cribbs can return both, right? He can be our kick and our punt returner. I guess if we wanted to try to sneak a second player on this roster from a weapon standpoint, could we add like we said, we moved Tyreek Hill to punt returner and then we added another receiver. We bring back Marvin Harrison for our receiving conversation. We need to bulk up the roster there. Eagles in 3rd and 12. Jalen Hurts goes deep. Oh, jump ball. Devontae Smith not able to bring it in. So Bills will be getting the punt here with 3.5 minutes left. And three timeouts, a 2-minute warning, and they need a touchdown. Not looking too shabby, Chad. Hey, yo, you've got the 35-1 MVP of the league in Josh Allen as well, too. Turns out that's actually third. But, and, that's not a live update as well. That's just where it was at before. But, yeah, for punter stats, here, let's see. We got, I don't even know if we go average touchbacks. No, you probably don't necessarily always want a touchback. Can you go inside the 10? Is there stats for punts inside the 10? I mean, shout out. We're not doubting Pro Football Reference in any way, but I'm just not sure what they have. Punts, blocked, punt yardage, yards per punt, punts in total. So let's just go yards per punt. Let's see who had the most yards per punt in the 21st century. I'm assuming over 20 is a decent professional average at some point. So Ty Long, it always sorts by fantasy points, and we forget about it. It is what it is. The most punts was Andy Lee. So Shane Leckler was second. Dustin Colquitt third. Brad Maynard? We might have to get Brad Maynard. I don't know why. It just sounds like... Oh, Donnie Jones? There we go. It's like an R&B singer right there. We get Donnie Jones. But for yards per punt, it would be... Oh, what about Marquette King? What about our guy Marquette King? We forgot about him. Ryan Stonehouse? Whoa! How did we not get Ryan Stonehouse? 2 punts blocked and 216 punts. So we've got him. Ryan, I guess you got to get a punter named Ryan. Ryan Ricow is number 2. Jake Camarda, number 3. Blake Gillikin, number 4. Michael Dickinson in the mix as well, too. Yeah, I think it's got to be Marquette King. Yeah, shout out. He's not too far down there, 46.7. So it still is, a decent production. And as long as we have a great offense and don't have to punt, we should be fine. And we get good, early TikTok maybe, or early Vine situation with Marquette King. Some good YouTube videos. I don't know. Does Marquette King have a podcast now? He could be in the all podcast team. So this might be it, chat. This might be our team. I guess we don't have our quarterback yet. Our biased quarterback. They said that Manning, or they said, in the article that we're going to be going up against, Brady, Mahomes, and Manning are off the board. So we could go Rodgers. We could go Phillip Rivers. He's all the good times that he's brought us now for returning as the Colts quarterback, and then, his run on the Chargers as well too. It could be Eli Manning. If we want to upset Tom Brady, we've got Eli Manning to neutralize Tom Brady. We've got Ty Law to neutralize Peyton, and we've got a pass rush to neutralize Pat Mahomes. So we're going to be fine, I guess, going into this game. But most passing yards for the 21st century here, I guess, just giving us some fantasy stats. We don't want fantasy stats for a quarterback. We know that Brady was around for a very, very long time. But, yeah, we could go Lamar, like we were saying. We could go Josh Allen as well, too. Even Brett Favre. Brett Favre got a Super Bowl in the 90s, but it's not like the man didn't put up stats in the 2000s. Drew Brees. Of course, how could we forget? Him and Brady in the 80,000 yards club. And then you've got Rodgers at 65,000 yards. So both of those guys, 15,000 yards plus ahead of the next closest guy. Nobody from the 21st century, 21st century from 2000 on is in the 70,000 yard club. But both those guys, 80,000. Roethlisberger has a couple Super Bowls. Stafford could continue to add to the legacy this year as well too. Honestly, Stafford, if those 3 guys are off the board, Stafford would be in consideration. And, of course, Rodgers would be in consideration. Cam Newton, we definitely have to consider Cam Newton as well, too, from a two-way threat. But our quarterback has to be Mike Vick. It is what it is. We need to lean into the speed and the athleticism and the dynamic abilities of this offense. And his ability to, throw the deep pass or keep the plays alive as well too if we need him. I mean, it's not like we're really going to need him to, but if we need him to, would be pretty incredible. So here we go. This is our 25 for all 25 team. So just to again remind of the team that we have, that we are going up against Brady, Peyton, Mahomes, the running backs, Priest, Holmes, McCaffrey, Henry, or the quarterbacks, Mahomes, Priest, Holmes, not Patrick Mahomes, Priest, Holmes, Christian McCaffrey, and Derrick Henry, the running backs. Juszczyk, the fullback. We didn't get a fullback. Randy Moss, Calvin Johnson, Julio Jones, Terrell Owens, Marvin Harrison, and Justin Jefferson are the receivers. Gronk, Kelsey, Tony Gonzalez, the tight ends, Joe Thomas, Trent Williams, Joe Thomas, the tackle. You know, that we got the offensive line there. We got DeMarcus Ware, Myles Garrett, Aaron Donald on the defense, Darrell Reeves, Ed Reed, Brian Dawkins on the opposing team as well. So our team again, Mike Vick, LaDainian Tomlinson, CJ2K, Edrin James, Fitzgerald Smith, Tyreek Hill, Andre Johnson, Reggie Wayne, Ocho Cinco. We're stacked, chat. We're stacked. Okay. And I am feeling really good about how we were able to bring together this defense with the names that we're working with. We got some all-time names here, but we have, I think, formulated a pretty nasty team. So we need to ask it what is going to happen in this game if we sim it, and if I can get a good angle to type all this stuff out at. Here, let's see. So maybe we copy and paste. Might be the move here. Let's see, because we're gonna have to enter the other team as well too. We need to sim this game and see. And I don't know why the I key gets stuck. So we got Team 1, or we call it Team ESPN versus Team Rem and Sam. And remember, Team ESPN had the first pick, and they were able to pick their entire team. So, Ayo, if we can type correctly here, Team ESPN is, we're going to give him Tom Brady as the starter. It is what it is. We can be honest there. And then we can give him, are we going to have to go the offensive line? It is what it is. We've got Jason Kelsey. We've got, here, let me pull their lineup back up because we stole some of their offensive linemen. They've got Joe Thomas. Hey, yo, we could go to break, but, you know, we'll just hang out and type this in. It is what it is. We're just cooking stuff up on the fly, so maybe we would have been more prepared to enter this in, pause, if we had known. But otherwise, you know, we'll just have to you know, play the cards as they fall. It is what it is. But once we get the offensive line, you know, shout out again to all our offensive linemen. It is what it is. But we've got Zach Martin here from the Cowboys, of course, and Lane Johnson from the Eagles. So their team will immediately have friction in the locker room as well, too. I don't know if Tom Brady will be strong enough to bring this offensive line together. But the Brady-Randy Moss connection, of course, we've seen that. That will be deadly. I'm assuming we're going to give him Calvin Johnson as the other starter. We run an 11 personnel here. I think might be the move. So, Calvin Johnson. Hey, yo, can we even spell chat? I mean, it's clearly proven that we can't. Calvin Johnson. And then their third receiver between Terrell Owens, Marvin Harrison, and Justin Jefferson. Yeah, it's got to be Terrell Owens. And then we've got their tight end was, I mean, we would go Gronk. I know they've also got Kelsey and Gonzalez on their team, but we'll go Gronk as the starter. And then their running back, Priest, Holmes, McCaffrey, and Derrick Henry. So shout out. They're getting Priest. I before E chat. What are the rules here? We've got Priest, Holmes, and then I think that would be the offense. Okay, we're almost there, chat. Well, not really, but we've got team offense versus their defense of DeMarcus Ware. And I can hear exciting things happening in the Bills-Eagles game, so we'll check that out in a second. DeMarcus Ware, Myles Garrett, Aaron Donald, and I guess the defense a little bit more set for this lineup. And then we'll check this play here. Aaron Donald. Oh, and Julius Peppers was the other guy. That's terrifying, Chad. This is a terrifying defensive line to go up against. Hopefully our offensive line will hold. It is 1st and 10, a minute 45. Okay, the Philly still has the lead. I guess we're not invested either way. Oh, Josh Allen pass batted down. But just in terms of dramatic, you know, comeback possibilities, it looks like the Bills are still at midfield. So I guess we're leaving Vince Wilfork off the field for this team as well too. But they've got Ray Lewis as their linebacker. Oh, chat, the name value for this defense may honestly carry them in this matchup. And I'm gonna give them Brian Urlacher as their other starter. I know that we've got Kuechly and Levante David as great options as well too, but I think Urlacher has to be the starter. Maybe Kuechly had a better per season type of career, but I think Urlacher, to me, the nostalgia of that Bears defense a little bit. Lance Briggs is another name we didn't mention, but another great player. And Josh Allen with another jump ball down the field, another crazy catch once again for, is that Brandon Cooks like we said earlier? We still haven't even double checked, but he's still making plays. It is what it is. So it gets him to the 10. James Cook, and the Eagles are ready for that, but they got to score a touchdown here. So it's not like they can just run the clock down on these next couple of plays and kick a game-winning field goal. They do need to get into the end zone. They still got 2 timeouts, and the clock is running. So, hey, we gotta lock in here as we update the lineups, and once again, the secondary as well too is gonna be monstrous. I guess they do get a third linebacker. What do we go with? A 4-3 defense for each team. So shout out to Levante David, but I think Kuechly as well would get the nod between the two guys. It is what it is. But we've got Allen going to the 3, chat. He's down to the 3. 3rd and goal, 23 seconds. So they call a timeout now, and they should be able to call a timeout after this play as well, too, if they're not able to get in the end zone for a 4th down setup. But 2 plays to potentially get in the end zone here, and the ability to stop the clock is clutch. And, of course, they've got Team ESPN has Darrelle Revis as well, too, as a corner. And they get, do we go Champ Bailey or Rich? We got to go Champ Bailey. Champ Bailey had the most Pro Bowls of any cornerback this century, and he's not going to be a starter. And then Ed Reed. And I know we probably should go Polamalu, and we probably shouldn't go Brian Dawkins as well, just to make it easier for us to win. But we are going to, Ed Reed, 2 E's. Ayo, shout out. We should know that. Looks better. There we go. We've got Brian Dawkins as the other starter. So should we give it the bench as well too? Pause. Whoa. Hey, yo. Just so it knows the roster. And then we'll update with our starting lineup here and see what it looks like. Oh, Josh Allen passes to an underneath route. He finds his receiver at the 1, and he stumbles into the goal line. Dawson Knox for the touchdown. The Eagles, I guess, 18 seconds. Oh, no. Has Buffalo been in a similar spot before? I don't know. And they do have to make the extra point. It did get blocked last time. Go for 2, McDermott. Just go for 2. Okay, so we've got, I guess, the bench for Team ESPN here. We'll make sure to update it. We have to make sure that ChatGPT knows what players we couldn't take because they were on this team. But then again, it's like, if Von Miller breaks through and Brady has to sit out for a play, it's like, well, it knows now that, that Pat Mahomes is going to be the backup or Peyton Manning is going to be the one subbing in, that they're going to be just fine from that standpoint. But Derrick Henry is also on this team as well, too, as a running back. They've got Julio Jones off of the bench for receivers. Marvin Harrison. Maybe we take the son and then the dad. Maybe he would be more competitive against the son, though. I think Marvin Harrison Sr. definitely would definitely think that winning a football game against his son would probably be the better move for him, honestly. And then they've got Travis Kelce. Do we just go Taylor Swift's boyfriend? I don't know how we label it there. Oh, got him, chat. Got him. And then Tony Gonzalez as well, too. Speaking of the podcasters, I guess Kelce, team podcast as well, is it definitely stacks that team up. Hey, yo, chat, we can't spell. Like we said before, It is what it is. We should definitely know how to spell his last name, but we got to be respectful and double check. It is what it is. Okay, we've got him registered, and then for their backup defensive guys, they get Jared Allen. I mean, you all tuned in to watch us type in a team into the Google Doc and then copy it, paste it into the Chat GPT. It is what it is. But hey, sometimes naming football players is a fun time. It is what it is. So we'll see who wins this game. It's all going to be set up for the team with Tom Brady to win the game. It is what it is. So maybe we should start Peyton Manning to make it more. Now we're just being disrespectful to Peyton Manning. It is what it is. But maybe we should just start him there to try to make it a little bit more even. I don't know. It is what it is. But Calais Campbell as well, too. Definitely adding great depth to the team. Oh, Chris Jones. I forgot he was even off the board for us. That is a tough no-get. And then Earl Thomas as well, too. Earl Thomas. And our team is already typed out, so it should be a little bit easier to format that as well, too. Earl Thomas, and then the last one they had as a safety was, we get Patrick Peterson, Rodney Barber. A couple more guys, Patrick Peterson, Richard Sherman. Also, I guess in just, that's how it works, these guys. Richard Sherman? Richard Sherman, given the Richard Sherman on Amazon Prime. Is that a segment? Did we just cook up a segment for him after the games? A little Richard Sherman where he tells us what happened? I don't know. But we've got Troy Polamalu as the last bench guy for the Team ESPN. So shout out Team ESPN. They've assembled quite the roster. But Team Rem and Sam, and I know that, Sam is not here to help boost the lineup as well, too. He would definitely provide some valuable input, but we do have to tread forward with this team. So I guess because his boy Pat Mahomes is off the board, I'm sure that he'd be okay with Michael Vick being the quarterback of this team. It is what it is. So we've got Michael Vick as our starter. We've got LaDainian Tomlinson. And speaking of not spelling, if we get that one after we just said we can't spell, then we've definitely been lying the whole time. It is what it is. See, we can't even search it originally, chat. Okay, here we go. LaDainian Tomlinson. Shout out. If that registered as well, too, that quickly, then we would be a lot smarter than we thought. Oh, see, we can't even get back to the tab that we were spelling it on, chat. Welcome to the Rem and Sam pod. It just is what it is. It is what it is sometimes. But we navigate, and we figure it out, and we'll get his name on the roster. LT, we don't want the Chat GPT to accidentally think we have Lawrence Taylor as our running back. I don't think that would be a bad thing. I'm just saying that, again. And, copy and paste his picture in chat. What are we, like old men with computers here? Sometimes. This is why people always ask me for, like, tech advice. It's like, I don't know what to do. I just don't know what to do, so I have to figure it out on my own all the time. And I guess you're not willing to do the same thing. But, hey, we're nice guys, so it is what it is. But we've got, I don't know if we're going to try to, type it back out in all caps, chat. It is what it is. We've got LaDainian Tomlinson as our main running back. We've got Larry Fitzgerald as our receiver. We've got Tyreek Hill. Oh, they went for 2. They did go for 2. Oh, they didn't get it. Was that for the division? Was that for the 1 seed in the AFC? Oh, 12-13 Bills are down. McDermott, was that for his job? I don't know. But it was a gutsy move. I like it. I mean, we're not Bills fans, so that's probably why. Josh Allen. Was that a bad pass? Just a little bit off? It was. Oh, he had him. Shakur kind of gave up the route a little bit. Oh, tough all the way around. Yet the play was there to be made, though, so you can't necessarily criticize McDermott on that one. It is what it is. Josh Allen, you can't say karma for for the guy dropping the pass in the playoffs. But it's like, hey, you know, this game, this guy had his play. This game, this guy had his play. This game, this guy. It's like, hey, you know, Josh Allen's probably going to have his play every now and then. So this game is his play. Hey, you know, week 16 in the regular season when you're 11-4, it's a good time to have a play. And maybe the fire that he's, you know, maybe it'll kind of help power him in through a playoff run as well, too. Onside attempts, 5 for 49 this season. Is that high? I'm not sure. Can we get 6 for 50? Can we see another one? 5 seconds. They might have to onside kick and then field goal or onside kick and Hail Mary. It would be tough. Conditions. It doesn't look too crazy that maybe they could get a long field goal here. But onside kick attempt is live. Kick is up. Good bounce. Right to the tight end. Hey, yo. Philly recovers. Philly with the win. Hey, like I see, you know, the play was there. The play was there. Josh Allen had the throw. You know, you like McDermott having the sack to make the play. It is what it is. But, you know, sometimes it doesn't happen. Unfortunately for the Bills, you know, it never seems to. But maybe one of these days, maybe that sets them up for a lucky play in the playoffs. Maybe it'll actually go their way this time now that in the regular season it didn't. So if we can finish entering these lineups for this game. That's right, Steve Smith. Oh, you know, I'm not less excited. Whoa, ayo. Ayo, did you hear the bad taste? Pause. Ooh, that was nasty. Pause. But yeah, Steve Smith. Getting more excited thinking about this lineup again. We've also got Antonio Gates as our tight end. We've got a stacked offensive line of Trent Williams, Nick Mangold, rest in peace. We've got Steve Hutchinson, Andre. Who else do we? Williams? We don't remember everybody offensive lineman's name. Willie Anderson. Whoa, who's Andre Williams, chat? Hey, yo, Steve Hutchinson. Willie Anderson. Is Willie Anderson on TV? Willie Colon is on TV. Is Willie Anderson on TV? I don't know. But we've got the other offensive lineman was one more. Quentin Nelson. We're forgetting our guy. If it's biased and we forgot about him, is that a good sign? I don't know. But once again, I'm not feeling worse being reminded that he is in this lineup. So our offense is set. Our defense is Warren, Sapp, Richard, Seymour. We've got Von Miller. I'm telling you, if ChatGPT respects the defensive effort here, I think we'll be okay. I think we will be okay. Von Miller. And then who else do we have? J.J. Watt as well, too. We've got, for our linebackers here, I guess we get 3 of them. So we've got Zach Thomas, Fred Warner, and Patrick Willis. I think that's right. Fred Warner, Patrick Willis, and Derek Johnson. No, I think it's got to be these 3 guys here for our linebacker core. If we're each going to run a basic 4-3 standard type it out lineups, then these will be our 3 linebackers. And I guess having the bench on there gives you that defensive flexibility as well, too. And then, yeah, for, I guess, our corners, we've got Woodson and Asamoah. Are we going to start Woodson and Ty Law or Woodson and Cromartie? We might start Woodson and Ty Law, honestly, and then go with Sean Taylor. Sean Taylor and Sanders as our starters. It's going to be Sean Taylor and John Lynch as our safeties. And then maybe we just, if we go Woodson in the slot. Wait, do we get 3 corners? If we go a front 7 and then, no, 7 and 4. So we get 2 corners. It is what it is. Do we go Sean Taylor? Oh, maybe that's what it is. We go Charles Woodson as our safety then. So we do actually end up Charles Woodson at safety, but, you know, gives us that flexibility. So we go Woodson, Sean Taylor, Asamoah, and Cromartie, I think might be our options. Or Ty Law as well, too. Ooh, the Cromartie Ty Law one is tough. Cromartie, you know, we watched Cromartie torch the Colts a little bit more than Ty Law. That was more of a, you know, we've heard about it, read about it, seen it later situation. Hey, wait a second. Who did we just delete out there? I wasn't even paying attention. Hey, Aqib Talib. Okay, just reordering. Not cutting him from the team. Aqib Talib is still on the roster. But yeah, I think it's going to be these 3 guys starting in the secondary. The thing is, I just watched his highlights like 2 weeks ago, so I'm really thinking about it. But if it's the modern matchups as well too, we know that he can hold his own. So screw it. Why not? Our lineup's not going to be worse. It is what it is. We got Ty Law off the bench. We can always fix it later if we need to change it up. So that's our starting lineup along with Sean Taylor as well too. Rest in peace. So there is Team Rem. I think we're good to go. Do we need to count out all 22 guys and see if we got it? I don't know. We'll just risk it. I guess if ChatGPT throws a flag on us for not having a proper amount of guys in the lineup, then we shall see. Oh, and we forgot about our special teams unit as well too. Hey, yo. So we've got to add that here. Justin Tucker. Oh, this might actually be where we win the most right here. Shane Leckler. Hey, yo. Shout out again, legendary. But also, and Devin Hester is pretty legit. But we've got, like we said, our guy Vinny, Adam Vinatieri. We've got, Vinatieri. We've got Josh MTV Cribs. And we've got our last guy, we can't remember our own punter, Marquette King. Shout out. So this is definitely the most fun, most viral special teams unit, the most viral STU that is out there. Whoa. I don't know if that's the right way to say it either. But to enter in the rest of the guys on our bench, shout out. We've got CJ2K and Edrin James over here to throw into the lineup. We've got here, I guess, to keep it all formatted. Hey, yo, chat, you gotta make it look even. Hey, yo, it is what it is. We've got Ty Law and Aqib Talib. It doesn't even matter. Offense, defense at this point. It is what it is. We've got to add in London Fletcher and Derek Johnson as well to the bench. All the names that we mentioned before. We're going, chat. We're going. We'll get the sim ready. It is what it is. We're trying. Well, we might have to move Suggs into that starting lineup, honestly. Suggs over Von Miller or Suggs over J.J. Watt, though? Which one? I'm not sure. I think, off the bench is probably okay for now. But either way, the lineup is, equally dangerous with any of those guys. So Von Miller, I guess, Super Bowl pedigree, we will give him the starting spot, and J.J. Watt as well too. More defensive players of the year, but also John Abraham and Dwight Freeney off the bench. So our offensive bench guys that we have left to consider: Vernon Davis and Jason Witten, and then Reggie Wayne and Ocho. And I guess we don't have any backup quarterbacks. It is what it is. We don't need them. I don't even know who would be our backup quarterbacks. Like, as much as, we could admit to the legacy stuff of Rodgers or whatever, then I don't know if he's the guy we necessarily want on our team. And I don't know if we can have Lamar on this team if it's a playoff game. If it's a regular season game, then maybe. But if it's a playoff game, I'm not sure. So do we have to go Michael Vick, Joe Flacco playoff games? Colin Kaepernick had some good playoff games. Hasselbeck made a Super Bowl. Maybe it's Roethlisberger. Maybe it is Phillip Rivers, honestly. Or it is just our guy. Let's just go Andrew Luck, chat. It is what it is. Are we wrong? Are we wrong for 8 years of Andrew Luck just based on the talent? Andrew Luck's our backup quarterback. Mike Vick and Andrew Luck are our quarterbacks. Do we need one more? And then we just get Aaron Rodgers to help with the ChatGPT name value of it. Or I'm this close to putting Phillip Rivers on the roster, but I'm not fully there yet. I think Luck and Mike Vick is an okay 1-2. I don't think we necessarily need to add a third guy. Chad Pennington. No, I think we could cook up something else as well. So I think this will be fine for the sim, chat. I think this will be fine. Okay, so we've got our instructions. We've got our team. See, I don't think we need anything else. That's all the work it took. So boom, let's see what we got. ChatGPT, sim this game. Team ESPN versus Team Rem and Sam. The 25 for 25 bowl game. Should we take a break? No, we'll sim it and see what happens. Hopefully, Team Rem is able to make a dramatic fourth quarter effort and win this one but it's going to be tough. Whoa, we got to choose a path? No. Make a choice. I know spoilers. No, we got to ask. Make a choice. Make a choice. Who will win? 2 exclamation points so it knows. Make a choice. Okay. Oh, it hurts, chat. Pause. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. Team ESPN wins. Not a hedge, not a tie, not an it depends. Why it wins? It wins because Brady. Brady plus Mahomes plus Peyton off the bench is an unfair advantage against any defense ever assembled. It's not true. That's for sure. Offensive line dominance. Kelsey, Thomas, Martin Johnson is the greatest offensive line ever put to field. That neutralizes WhatsApp. Anyone? What about our offensive line? Our offensive line is not there. What's it say? Mismatch hell. You can't cover Moss, Megatron, plus T.O., plus Gronk consistently, even with Woodson, Taylor, and Asamoah. Defense is just legendary. Donald, Lewis, Dawkins, Reeves, champs. No weak link to exploit. Special teams edge. Tucker plus Hester quietly swing field position and points. REMINGTOM's team is terrifying. Vic's chaos. Left tackle versatility. Oh, ChatGPT's been listening. It knows Trent Williams is our second favorite player on this team. Elite pass rush, but over a full game, ESPN's depth and position and late game QB play decided. We knew that the Brady pick was going to win it. It is what it is, but what do you do? And ESPN wins 10 times. Oh, six out of 10 times? So they're barely better than us. They're barely better than us with Tom Brady. REMINGTOM steal a few with explosive plays, but in one game, one choice, Team ESPN wins. Okay, you hate to see it. Can we get stats? Do we have stats from a matchup like this? How does our guy Mike Vick compare to Brady in an all-time game? Full box score, 41-35. So it's a fun game, but I don't know if, maybe we put up a couple points late. Brady, very clean, 18 for 26, 262, 2 touchdowns, 104 rating. Oh, Mahomes, they play all the quarterbacks. Oh, okay. Mahomes, 12 for 16 and 183. 2 touchdowns, 1 for 10. I guess Manning doesn't get in the game, so overall they're cooking. But a little the first half, second half between Brady and Mahomes is pretty funny. Priest Holmes, 16 for 92, I guess is pretty good. 1 touchdown. CMC, 7 for 41 carries, 5 for 44 receptions. And then your team total 30 carries for 145 yards and a touchdown. Moss, 7 for 148 and 2 touchdowns. Calvin Johnson, 5 for 82 and a touchdown. And Terrell Owens, 4 for 61. Gronk, 6 for 69. Kelsey, 4 for 37 and a touchdown. And Julio Jones, 3 for 46 and a touchdown. So Terrell Owens not getting a touchdown feels personal, honestly. Aaron Donald, 2.5 sacks, 5 tackles for a loss. Whoa. Aaron Donald just destroyed our offensive line. I mean, ChatGPT with no with no respect for Nick Mangold is hilarious. Well, I guess any offensive lineman in general versus Aaron Donald. 5 tackles for a loss is crazy. It's got us at 4 sacks for this game and 6 tackles for a loss. Ray Lewis with 11 tackles. Ed Reed with a pick. Brian Dawkins, 8 tackles as well. Hester, 4 kick returns, 121 yards. He's out here cooking us every time. Oh, no. Vic, 20 for 31, 284, 3 touchdowns and a pick. No rushing touchdowns feels disrespectful. ChatGPT may have to look inward at the results it's producing. Tomlinson, 18 for 101 and a touchdown. We've got CJ 2K off the bench for 6 for 54. So as a team, 33 for 245 and a touchdown. Between Vic, Tomlinson, the totality of the run game, of course, is dynamic. And then we do have, I guess, the NBA game and the NFL game have both ended, even though we're, almost done looking at the score. Here it is what it is. We've got Hill, 6 for 19 and a touchdown. Fitzgerald, 6 for 94 in a touchdown. He can't get 100 yards against Revis. I guess Fitzgerald versus Revis, or maybe just the whoever guards Fitzgerald conversation is interesting. But I think it's underestimating Tyreek Hill in this game as well too. Steve Smith, 5 for 88 and a touchdown. Gates, 4 for 41 and a touchdown. Okay, J.J. Watt, 2 sacks. Von Miller, 1.5. And we got Warren Sapp with the sack. So Warren Sapp not neutralized. I don't know what it's saying over there. But Patrick Willis, 12 tackles. Sean Taylor forcing a fumble as well, too. It is an Ed Reed game-changing interception and Tom Brady at the end of the game that swings it. That definitely makes sense in what happened. A trash-talking version in a best-of-7. Unfortunately, the NFL, they don't play best-of-7. Can we go, let's go fourth quarter recap and see what happened at the end of this game that allowed them to pull away. And then there is one other question I want to ask it because I do want to end on a win. It is what it is. So, and of course we're up 28-21. This is crazy, chat. But Rem and Sam try to bleed the clock with the left tackle and throw short. Should we re-enter who our coaches are? Maybe if we have a lead in the fourth quarter, it would give us the win if our clock management was better. We've got 3rd and 6. Aaron Donald blows up a screen. See right there. I don't know. I don't know if we're hiring a coach. If we said, would you run a screen on 3rd and 6 in the fourth quarter of a Super Bowl? I don't know if we would hire that coach. We'd have to really sit down and think about it. But I guess that's what happens either way. Maybe he lied to us in the interview. So Aaron Donald makes a play, and we're like, hey, that's why we asked the question. It is what it is. And then, whoa! Sam might be. Is Sam on the line right now? Is he calling in? Is he running the call? Is he running the chat GPT? Patrick Mahomes replaces Tom Brady in the fourth quarter. Mahomes scrambles right, flicks 25-yard laser to Terrell Owens. Defense immediately backs off. Drive highlight, 3rd and 8. Mahomes no look to Gronk over the middle. Whoa, I didn't see that happening at all, chat. Patrick Mahomes, the Tua, and Brady's Jalen Hurts. He subs in and takes over the game for the win. Ayo. But Vic answers on the next drive, escapes Ware and Garrett on back-to-back plays. 40-yard bomb to Steve Smith. Whoa. Beats Champ Bailey off scramble drill. Whoa. I guess he won the route versus Champ Bailey on that play. Red zone play action freezes Lewis and Urlacher. So this is a great play. See, this is why we hired this guy. He draws up plays that can freeze both Ray Lewis and Brian Urlacher. I didn't even know those existed. But touchdown to Larry Fitzgerald. Toe tap fade. 35-28. I guess, is that our last score? Ice in his veins. Mahomes again. 13-play drive. Conversions on 3rd and 9, 3rd and 7, and 4th and 2. Chat, we love Mahomes so much that I'm getting happy. Pause thinking about it. Getting excited getting happy thinking about it. It's crazy. Getting excited about watching him perform in this game. But if he's cooking our own team like this, you wouldn't like it. And then draws triple coverage. Travis Kelce slips behind Patrick Willis for the touchdown. Oh, P. Willie. You hate to see it. But defense wins it. Vic scrambles for 11. Oh, the Ed Reed interceptions at the end of the game. Oh, painful, chat. What a tragic loss. Ed Reed undercuts Tyreek Hill. Interception at midfield. Crowd loses it. Set up for OT. ESPN plays it smart. Short completions. Tucker hits it from 56. It would have been good from 60. Oh, chat, we're out here talking about how we have the winning kicker. Oh, wait, did that tie it up? It hits from 60, but time expires on timeout. Oh, so they didn't actually get to run the play. Hey, yo, you love to see it. So clock management gets ESPN as well, too, so it goes into overtime? Oh, ChatGPT. So they're literally just playing a game with us at this point. They want us to keep interacting. It is what it is. But Mahomes in the fourth quarter, apparently 11 for 13, 142, and 2 touchdowns. Vic electric, but forced 1 mistake. Okay, so wait, why do we have to lose in overtime? Maybe we should ask it that way. Maybe we can get it to change the results. Actually, you're right. Now that I think about it again, you do win. Why do we have to lose in OT? Do they sub Brady back in? Is that the move? I don't know. But you don't have to lose in OT, but you lost because of one specific matchup reality, not because your team is weaker. Let me be straight and fair. The real reason OT hurts you, OT, no margin for chaos, protection, route running, one mistake that directly favors Team ESPN. Okay, Chad, so they know how to, I guess, tease what's up next. Coming up next, the biggest mistake that cost Team Rem and Sam the game. Hopefully it's not Mike Vick again. I think maybe ChatGPT would maybe have some personal problems with Mike Vick if that's the case. But QB style, Mahomes, Brady, surgical, Vic explosive, but OT punishes improvisation. I mean, is that the whole Mahomes thing as well too? I don't know. O-line versus D-line. ESPN's O-line historically not losing instantly. Even, back to Warren Sapp apparently is not that great as well. OT mismatches, turnover leverage. But here's the most important honest truth, blah, blah, blah. Oh, we wanted a script. I need what happens. We need what happens. They know how to string us along, chat. They know how to string us along. But we'll get results out of them one way or another here. We'll dangle ChatGPT over the balcony and shake some answers out of it if we have to. Drive 1, coin toss, ESPN wins. They choose to receive automatic TD chance, OT drive, ESPN ball, 75 yards. Oh, we get an exact play-by-play here of what happens. Mahomes in shotgun, quick route to Calvin Johnson versus Cromartie for 12 yards. Why is Cromartie on Calvin Johnson? What happened here? I guess we did start him. It is what it is. Maybe we go back and change it to Ty Law. Would that change the outcome? I'm not sure, but hey, maybe that's why we need a series as well too. Priest Holmes up the middle for 8. Chains moving. Mahomes no look, pumps, fakes left. Gronk seam versus Warner. That wouldn't happen. Would Warner really give up a passing route versus Gronk for 18? Oh no. 18 yards. Von Miller screams off the edge. Mahomes sidesteps, flicks it to CMC for 9. Mahomes launches it. Randy Moss versus single coverage. Woodson hesitates. Why? Touchdown. Game over. Oh, wait a second. See, it doesn't know about the new rules. We have to let it know. In 2020, we have to win this game, Chad. It is what it is. In 2025, both teams get a drive. What happens then? So maybe we have a chance if we both get an opportunity to score. Let's see. Got it. 2025 playoffs. Both teams are guaranteed a possession. So now you do get the ball. Okay, here's what happens. So drive 1, we get the stuff. It is a field. Wait, was it a field goal the first time or was it a touchdown? So it's immediately changed the result. Okay, so if it's new rules, then apparently it goes from a Randy Moss touchdown to a Justin Tucker field goal. I don't know why. Result: ESPN reaches the 18. Hey, we'll take it either way. Like I said, ESPN's like, or ChatGPT is like, okay, we get it. This guy just wants to win the game. Drive 2. Now it's Vic's time. No clock pressure. 4 downs everywhere. Wait a second. This is college rules now all of a sudden. Vic scrambles twice for first downs. Donald finally slowed. Left tackle breaks a 17-yard draw. So we get Trent Williams on some kind of counter pull action play. Fitz converts 4th and 5 on Revis. Perfect throw. Oh, can ChatGPT generate the highlight? I want to see it. Gates bodies Dawkins on a seam. Okay. So the guy we wanted. Turns out Gates ends up making the game-winning play there. 3rd and 6 from the 6. Options. Oh, is it going to give us a play call? Oh, okay. Let's go. Maybe we take a poll or something. I don't know. But run left tackle, probably stop. Fade to fix. Oh, options for Vic. Fade to Fitz contested. Vic keeps it. Vic pulls the zone read. Ray Lewis meets him at the 2. Mike Vick spins. Brian Dawkins arrives. Oh, he's getting revenge for the earlier play. Hit ball loose. Oh, chat. Why does Mike Vick always have to suffer at the hands of AI? I hate to see it. Ed Reed falls on it. So they win on a fumble on the goal line in OT. Brutal. Brutal. You hate to see it. But it did say that the main reason we won is because of Brady and Mahomes. So we do have to know what is the best QB that Team Rem and Sam could win against Team ESPN with. Is that the right way to ask the question? I don't know. What I think I'm not. We're not improving our QB. We want to know if it's not Brady and Mahomes, like if it's Aaron Rodgers for Team ESPN. What is the best QB that Team Rem and Sam could win against Team ESPN? We'll see if that makes sense. I don't think it does. It doesn't really make sense to me, so I don't know if it would make sense to the Chat GPT. But could win with versus Josh Allen in his prime is the sweet spot for the best QB we could win. Okay, I think maybe we don't want to stumble too much. Just trying to ask a question here at the end. Let's see, could Rem and Sam win the game with Mike Vick if we played John Elway? I think it's, a plenty great quarterback, but maybe just a little bit not. Oh, we win. Okay, so as long as we're playing John Elway, we're good to go. Elway is legendary, but not Mahomes Brady. See, there we go, chat. We knew it. As long as we're not playing Tom Brady, we're good to go. Which, if there is a rule of the NFL 25 for 25 team over the last 25 years in the NFL, I think it was that. I think if you were playing Tom Brady, you were okay. So there we go. I think, hey, that pretty much solves it for us Sunday night. I guess we can go watch the fourth quarter of Blazers Celtics in peace. Hey, yo, I didn't even realize we just ripped through 3/4 of a game there trying to cook up a team. And who knows, maybe we'll do an NBA team next time. I don't know if that was on the schedule, but we got to beat the ChatGPT again, chat. Hey, yo, we got to win another game. We can't just win at NFL. We got to win at NBA. We got to win at NBA and MLB, UFA, Ultimate Frisbee. How many leagues can we build winning teams for? I don't know, but I guess you have to tune in Tuesday to find out. Here on the YouTube, you can follow us live. You can follow us live on the podcast feeds. I guess you can follow us later on the podcast feeds. We're not live there, but the episodes do go up there as well. And you can DM us at REMINGTOM on Instagram and send us a message, connect with us over there. So we will see you all Tuesday for the last episode of 2025. And then I guess after that, hey, 2026, the show goes on. And hopefully we see you guys back here for the new year, but also for Tuesday as well, too, the next time we're live. And I guess go enjoy the rest of your night as well, too. Sunday Night Football right around the corner. So we'll see you all in a couple days. Peace.